Hi, welcome to my channel. The full version of the audiobook is available on my Patreon. You can quickly find it through the link in my profile description. Thank you for your support.
Chapter 1 Mr. Diver. Link. Link. Wake up. Link opened his eyes, removed the Playboy magazine from his face, and the bright Miami sun shone directly on his handsome face, causing him to squint. Beside him, the chubby James, wearing an oversized beach t-shirt and a Heat team cap askew, gazed thoughtfully at the distant sea. What happened? Link stretched, took a bottle of mineral water from the ice bucket, and gulped down half of it in one go. It's that girl named Taylor. She's been in the water for almost 2 hours and hasn't come up yet. She didn't bring an air tank, and I'm worried something might happen to her. Fat James pointed to the sea in the distance and said. This is Baker Diving Equipment Rental, located in the middle of Palm Cove Gold Beach in Miami, Florida. Link is the manager of the store, and Fat James is his partner. She was gone for 2 hours. How did you know? Link looked at the fat man and asked in confusion. This is a public beach with clear water and gentle waves. There are large coral reefs near the shore, making it a great place for diving. As a result, many tourists come here every day to rent diving equipment. During peak season, Baker's shop can rent out more than 10 sets a day. Now it's May, which is the peak season for beach vacations, and the shop has rented out 6 sets this morning. With so many tourists going into the water, it's difficult to remember when each person goes in. Fat James blushed as he was stared at. He adjusted his hat and stammered, I saw her. Okay, I'll confess, she's very beautiful, blonde, has a great figure, like a model. I noticed her when she came into the store. Link chuckled. So he was in heat. He yawned, lay back down, and said, Don't worry, tall people are good divers. Nothing will happen. Go check it out. If someone has an accident nearby, our business will be affected. For the sake of the US dollars, go check it out. Fat James shook his shoulder, his pitiful little eyes making Link feel helpless. You want me to rush to love? You're such a dog. But considering the store's business, he took some diving equipment from the store and took a speedboat to search the nearby shallow waters. The waters near the public beaches are less than 60 meters deep, with gentle currents and clear water, making them ideal for diving and exploration. Most tourists visiting Miami choose this area for water activities, except for a few adventurous individuals. Link drove the speedboat in circles within 1 to 2 nautical miles of the coast, observing the surrounding activity. About 800 meters from the shore, he spotted a red hair tie with a golden-brown hair wrapped around it. Link looked around but found no floating corpses or living people, so he couldn't determine where the girl was. He could only go down into the sea to take a look. He was a time traveler. After traveling to this world, his physical strength, endurance, speed, and reaction ability were all far superior to his original abilities. When diving in shallow water, he could swim very fast with just a few simple diving equipment. Around 2 or 3 p.m., the surface temperature of the seawater is above 20 degrees Celsius, making it very comfortable to soak in. Link dived to a depth of 10 meters below the surface and could see coral reefs on the seabed through the light blue water. Schools of colorful ribbonfish, knifefish, and whitefish darted among the corals. The underwater world is novel and magnificent, which can inspire people's desire to explore. However, the seabed also hides many dangers. Many coral reefs with thorny barbs, poisonous jellyfish, and fire corals that can sting are all enemies of divers and places where accidents can easily occur. Link circled around several dangerous areas, but found no bloodstains or anyone trapped in the coral reefs. The waters were calm, and James's worries were unnecessary. As we surfaced, a young man wearing a Baker's diving suit leaned against the side of the speedboat and chuckled, Hey, Mr. Baker, are you here to go diving too? No, I'm here looking for someone, a tall blonde girl who's also wearing a Beck diving suit. Have you seen her? I ran into one half an hour ago. She seemed to have gone over there. She was swimming very fast. The customer pointed to a small island 2 or 3 nautical miles away. Okay, thank you. After saying goodbye to his customers, Link steered the speedboat toward the island. The island is small, rising more than 10 meters above the water, and no more than 500 meters at its widest point. It is shaped like a mango, with black rock walls and many low-lying vegetation. Sometimes, the island is completely submerged at high tide. Link drove the speedboat around the island and spotted a tall girl on a flat, black rock to the east. The girl had her wet hair down, her wetsuit had been taken off and placed on the rocks, and she was only wearing a polka-dot bikini. She was nearly 180 centimeters tall, with fair and clean skin. Her figure had the slenderness of a young girl, as well as the vitality and sexiness of a teenage girl. She was like a budding flower, and there was definitely a lot to see. The girl was sitting on a rock, her left calf bleeding. She seemed to be about to take off her bra to bandage the wound, but when she heard the sound of the speedboat engine, she put it back on. "Hey, need any help?" "Yes, sir, I cut my calf on a stone and I need treatment," the girl responded loudly. Link slowly drove the speedboat closer to the island, stopped by a reef, and beckoned the girls to board. As the girl got closer, he realized she looked familiar, like the famous actress Taylor Swift, with blue fox-like eyes, a few brown freckles next to her upturned nose, and a youthful appearance. Considering that chubby James called her Taylor, and recalling the recent beach music festival in Miami, it's highly likely that the person in question is Taylor Swift. However, it was 2008, and Taylor Swift had only been in the industry for 2 years. She was a country music singer and not very famous in the pop music scene, so Link could pretend he didn't know her. "How did you get injured?" "What bad luck. I just lightly scratched the coral reef and got a cut on my calf." The girl hugged her fair, slender legs and complained, looking at the 3-centimeter-long, bleeding wound. "Your wetsuit is not sturdy enough and is not suitable for diving in areas with dense coral reefs." Link glanced at the wetsuit next to the girl. It had a nylon outer layer, which was quite form-fitting, but the quality was worse than lycra, and the rental fee was also cheaper. "I understand. When I rented the wetsuit, the fat shop assistant told me it was sturdy enough to handle the conditions in the nearby waters, but it turns out it's not sturdy at all. I'm going to make trouble for him." "We should make trouble for him." Link smiled slightly and mourned for the fat man for 2 seconds. The speedboat pulled up at the public dock, and the fat man, James, came running over, panting heavily, and asked solicitously, "Miss Taylor, how did you get hurt? You told me this wetsuit was very sturdy, but it tore and injured my calf just from touching a coral reef. How are you going to compensate me?" The girl crossed her arms over her chest and looked at the chubby man, whose face was flushed, and asked. Fat James, sweating profusely, explained with gestures, "We only have 4 wetsuits that fit your body type in our store. 3 of them have already been rented out, so this is the only one left." "Then you should tell me honestly. I can rent from other shops, there are other dive shops around here. Because of your deception, I can't participate in tomorrow's rehearsal, which has a very bad impact. How are you going to compensate me?" the girl asked aggressively. Me. The fat man took 2 steps back in fright. When he saw Link coming up with his diving equipment, he looked at him like a savior. He quickly ran behind Link and shouted, "He's the boss, you should ask him for compensation." "Are you the boss?" Taylor turned around in surprise to look at the tall, handsome but quiet boy. "Yes, my name is Link Baker, and I own Baker Dive Shop. Shall we go inside and talk?" Link chuckled. Taylor was momentarily stunned by his bright smile and handsome face, then waved his hand and said, "Never mind, you've helped me before. Don't be shy, we have a first aid kit in the shop. I'll disinfect and bandage it for you first. The wound isn't deep, and it will scab over in 3 or 4 days." Link pointed to her calf. "Okay, thank you." Taylor, supporting his arm, limped into Baker's diving shop, her feet sinking into the soft white sand. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 1 step away from the boxing champion. Go Link. He's hurt his nose, attack his nose. Link, you're about to win. Hang in there. Link, get up. Holy crap, that's $1 million. Just stand up and you'll get $1 million. Link. Link suddenly opened his eyes, sat up straight in bed, took a few deep breaths, suppressed the pounding of his heart in his chest, and felt a little dizzy for a moment. He had another dream. "I dreamt that I was participating in a cage battle at an underground casino on the border of Myanmar and Thailand, competing for $1 million prize, and was beaten to death in the final round. In the days since he transmigrated, he often dreams about his past, dreaming that he didn't graduate from high school and went with his uncle to work as a miner at a private iron mine in Shishan, pushing a dump truck full of ore to deliver it every day. The exit passage was a slope, and each time he had to hold his breath, grit his teeth, and desperately rush uphill to push the several hundred-pound vehicle out of the mine. I run back and forth 70 or 80 times a day, and I am exhausted every time I finish work, lying in bed like a dead person. He did this job for 3 years in a row. When he was 18, he was eating at a restaurant when he was robbed. He instinctively threw a punch that made the robber vomit blood and break 3 of his ribs. His boxing coach, Lao Lu, was also eating at the restaurant at the time. Seeing that he was strong and agile, Lao Lu thought he was a promising talent and asked him if he would like to learn boxing. Hearing that he would receive a monthly allowance of 3,000 yuan, he readily agreed to Lao Lu's suggestion to practice boxing with Lao Lu and participate in amateur competitions in China. His amateur record was 12 wins and 12 losses. In his 13th match, he got 2 into the fight and killed his opponent with a single punch. Although it was manslaughter, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. This imprisonment had a huge impact on him. He not only lost his eligibility to represent the country in competitions, but was also expelled from the provincial boxing team and blacklisted by other boxing clubs. He could only participate in underground boxing with Lao Lu. At the age of 28, someone set up a no-rules fighting tournament on the Myanmar-Thailand border, inviting fighters, wrestlers, and boxers from multiple countries to participate, with a prize of $1 million for the champion. He went with Lao Lu to participate in the competition. After 6 rounds of elimination, they successfully made it to the finals. However, the underground casino's matches disregarded the rules, and various underhanded tactics were employed, resulting in injuries in every match. In his final match, he was killed on stage due to a recurrence of an old injury. He woke up in a Miami hospital, now an American named Link Baker. Link Baker is 20 years old. When he was 15, his father died in a street shootout, his mother remarried, and Link Baker became a street thug, engaging in drug trafficking, reckless driving, theft, and frequent fights, resulting in multiple prison sentences. More than half a month ago, he got into a fight on the street and was stabbed in the back with a dagger. He bled to death and was later taken over by Link. This dive shop is the legacy of the grandfather who was an old fisherman. He was too old to fish anymore, so he opened a dive shop on the beach. After Link woke up, he took over the place and became a diver. Although he didn't earn much money every day, his mood gradually improved as he looked at the sun, sand, and sea. The various discomforts he experienced from the time travel also slowly disappeared. He is fairly satisfied with his current life. Hey, welcome to Miami. Link smiled at the mirror. The person in the mirror had neat and short black hair, narrow double eyelids, and sharply defined features, as handsome as a sculpture. His deep blue eyes were like the sea outside the window, deep, pure, and with a hint of melancholy. His face and temperament were somewhat similar to those of his previous life, which was something he was quite satisfied with. After leaving the bathroom, Link changed into a red tracksuit with lettering, wrapped 2 10-pound iron sandbags around his waist, and went for a morning run on the beach. It was a little past 4 in the morning, and the sky was still dark. The stars were scattered across the sky, and the crescent moon hung in the sky. The sea in the distance was calm under the cover of darkness, with only a few small islands protruding from the water. They were dark and the vegetation swayed, like the exposed skulls of giant sea monsters. Link ran north along the beachfront promenade, starting from the diving shop, all the way to the Palm Beach Beach Park, a distance of about 15 kilometers. After eating 2 slices of ham pizza at Joyce Pizza, I continued my journey back. As we passed the public pier, a melodious guitar tune drifted on the wind, its tinkling notes adding a touch of elegance to the morning seaside scene. He was running past the dock when he saw a girl in a long blue dress sitting on a mahogany deck, holding a guitar in her arms. One leg was bent, and the other leg was hanging in the air, swinging casually. The leg was wrapped in white gauze. Her long, golden hair was tossed about by the sea breeze, revealing her fair and rosy profile. It was Taylor Swift, whom I had seen yesterday. She was staying at the Hyatt Place Hotel in Palm Beach, not far from here. Hey, Link. The girl suddenly turned around and smiled at him. Hi. Link waved, slowed down, and asked, "It's very windy here, why don't we go inside and sit down?" "Okay." Taylor nodded, put down his guitar, and slowly stood up while holding onto the railing. Link walked onto the dock, helped her carry her guitar case, and supported her arm with one hand. Back at the shop, Link took a shower, changed into dry clothes, and cooked 2 steaks and 2 glasses of freshly squeezed orange juice in the kitchen before taking them to the shop entrance. Taylor was sitting on a beach chair, legs crossed, playing the guitar. There were papers and pens on the table, and she seemed to be composing a new song. When she saw him coming over with food, Taylor put down her guitar and thanked him. "Link, do you go for a run every morning?" Taylor looked at his strong, muscular arms. Even in a loose t-shirt, his chest and abs were clearly visible, making him incredibly sexy, and she couldn't help but glance at him a few more times. "Pretty much, except on rainy days. I practice guitar every day, just like you, but I prefer rainy days. I get more inspiration when I sit behind the window and watch the rain." Taylor smiled and gestured with her fork. "Writing a song on a rainy day? That sounds very romantic." Link smiled, cut the steak into small pieces with his knife, and kept stuffing his fork into his mouth. In just 2 minutes, he had swallowed an 800-gram steak. After transmigrating, not only did his physical fitness double, but his appetite also doubled. He needed to eat a lot of food at each meal to feel full, and James called him a glutton. When he finished eating, Taylor had only eaten half of his steak. "I don't cook often, and the food is just a so-so. You can leave the leftovers if you can't finish them." Link looked at her plate and said, "No. It's delicious." Taylor shook her head, her golden ponytail swaying slightly. She pointed to the sea and the beach and smiled gently, "I just think it's so romantic. Sunrise, the sea, white sand beaches, palm groves, having breakfast face to face with a handsome guy, it feels like something out of a movie." Link chuckled softly. It sounded quite nice, but he felt that the greatest romance for a man was in the boxing ring, where he would deliver a fierce hook punch that rendered his opponent completely powerless to resist. That was true romance. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. She's terrifying. The sun came out, and a few people began to stroll on the beach. Fat James rode his scooter along the seaside promenade and was so surprised to see the two of them having breakfast together that he almost fell off his scooter. Link didn't explain much. He put away the plates, hung the diving gear that had been cleaned yesterday back in the cabinet, and sent the torn diving suit back to the factory for repair, which would be another expense. After finishing her breakfast, Taylor sat under the parasol, gazing blankly at the distant sea. Occasionally, she would snap out of her reverie, her fingers tracing a melody on her guitar, which she would then write down on a piece of paper. "Link." James nudged his shoulder with his elbow, glanced at Taylor Swift in the doorway, and whispered, "You know what? She's a singer, and a pretty famous one at that. I saw her poster on Bar Street yesterday. It said she'd be doing the Beach Music Festival at Hard Rock Stadium this month. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were on the poster too, all big stars." "I saw it too." Link shrugged. The Miami Beach Music Festival is a large-scale event with extensive publicity. Posters for it can be seen all over Palm Beach recently. "Link, I looked up her information online. She has released albums and almost won the Grammy Award for Best New Artist this year. The news says she is a very talented singer-songwriter with great potential and will become a big star like Faith in the future." "Probably." Link nodded. Taylor will not only become a big star, but also the brightest star in the world music scene, a billionaire, a model of a beautiful, rich, and successful woman. Fat James looked at him with sympathy, patted him on the shoulder and said, "Link, she's a big star, we're just ordinary people. Your meeting is destined to be a tragedy. You should be prepared. Don't be too sad if you get dumped in the future." "No, I'm not an ordinary person." Link threw the rag into the fat man's arms, took the 2 bottles of water, and walked under the parasol. "Drink water." "Thanks." Taylor put down her guitar, tilted her head to look at him, and asked, "Can you play the guitar?" "No. I've never learned a musical instrument." Link looked at his hands. These hands could only mine, push carts, take beatings, and fight back. They had no other skills. Looking at Taylor's fair and slender fingers, he couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. "Let me teach you how, the guitar is very simple." Taylor didn't wait for him to refuse. He sat down next to him with great interest, put the guitar in his lap, took his fingers, and explained to him the pitch of each string, the high and low registers, and how to coordinate the fingers. But she was soon disappointed. Link not only had a poor ear for music and no knowledge of music theory, but his fingers were also as stiff as steel bars and could not be bent no matter how hard she tried. After teaching for half an hour, Link still couldn't distinguish even the simplest high and low notes, and Taylor was about to explode with anger. "Why are your fingers so stiff? Can't you relax a little? Seriously, can you stop shaking your leg?" "Wrong, press the second string, that's the bass range, you're so stupid." Taylor lay on the beach chair, covering her forehead, looking utterly dejected. James stood behind the counter, laughing heartily. "Never mind, my fingers are too stiff to play the guitar." Link waved his hand and laughed. He has a low level of education and aesthetic appreciation. He used to listen to some upbeat songs when he was practicing boxing, but he doesn't understand music theory and has never touched a musical instrument. Asking him to play the guitar would be more difficult than asking him to compete for a boxing championship belt. Taylor found his embarrassed expression amusing and, suppressing a laugh, said, "How can you give up at the first sign of difficulty? You can learn slowly if you don't know how, but if you give up, you'll never learn. Come on, let's continue. Don't worry, this time I'll control my emotions and I definitely won't lose my temper with you." Link had no choice but to continue practicing. Although Taylor had promised beforehand that she wouldn't lose her temper, she got angry again after only 3 or 4 minutes of teaching. She clenched her fists and waved them around in front of him, almost hitting him in the face several times. Link was sweating profusely from training, while the fat man laughed so hard he was doubled over. Fortunately, business picked up at the shop. Some customers needed divers to act as guides for exploring the underwater coral reefs. Link breathed a sigh of relief, took the opportunity to put down the hot guitar, and let Taylor Swift continue composing. He would take the guests diving first, and they could practice again when they came back. "Huh, Link, I told you before, she's a very difficult girl, extremely difficult. I experienced it myself yesterday." Fat James leaned over and laughed gleefully. Link put on his diving gear, started the speedboat at the dock, and took his guests for a spin in the sea to visit the nearby coral reefs and shipwreck sites. The 2 guests had a great time and afterwards gave an extra $100 tip. When Link returned, Taylor had already left. James said that Taylor's mother had come to pick her up, and she had gone home first. However, Taylor said she would come back tomorrow, as she felt it was wonderful to create art by the sea. There weren't many customers in the store in the afternoon, so Link ate a grilled meat rice at the Mexican restaurant next door, took a nap, and then started practicing boxing. In his previous life, he was born with poor physical condition and malnutrition. He was only 171 centimeters tall and had a small frame, which resulted in insufficient energy storage and explosive power. In boxing matches, one can only rely on a tenacious will, agile speed, and superb resilience to wear down the opponent's strength. He achieved good results in the middleweight and welterweight divisions, but when he moved to the light heavyweight division, he faced a very difficult time against tall and strong opponents. After transmigrating, his physical abilities were comparable to those of top athletes. He is 186 centimeters tall, has a wingspan of 192 centimeters, weighs 78.7 kilograms, has a clean and jerk of 132 kilograms, a snatch of 141 kilograms, a 100-meter swimming speed of under 20 seconds, and a 1,000-meter swimming speed of 6 minutes and 34 seconds. Moreover, during this month of training, his strength, speed, and reaction ability have been slowly increasing, and his body is becoming stronger and stronger. Link decided to continue training to see how much potential he had. "Link, it's time to pay the management fee." While he was exercising, the fat James, munching on a hot dog, said, "This month's utility bills, sanitation fees, public service fees, dock usage fees, site fees, etc., total $8,700, while our income this month is $14,540. That sounds pretty good." Link does sit-ups with his legs upside down on a metal frame to work his abdominal and lower back muscles. "Not bad. How did you come to think it's not bad? I haven't even factored in equipment repair and wear and tear costs." If you include those, the net income this month is less than 3,000. If we also pay our own salaries, we'll be losing over 10,000 this month, you know that? Don't worry, it's good that we didn't lose money. Link said, panting. But this can't go on. Fewer people will be diving after October, and business will be even worse. Link, what do you think about selling hot dogs too? You can make hot dogs. I remember diving shops aren't allowed to sell food. How about selling bikinis? Hehe, bikinis are also part of the diving equipment. James, resting his double chin on his hand, imagined the shop being crammed full of bikini-clad women, and couldn't help but let out a series of strange laughs. Don't think about it anymore. Let's focus on making the dive shop a success first. We can earn the money slowly. Link continued doing sit-ups while hanging upside down on the iron frame, preparing to first develop the 8-pack abs he had in his previous life. I'm eager to read the new book. End of this chapter. Chapter 4, Back to the Boxing Ring. In the afternoon, Mike from the surfboard store next door came over and said that it was his store's second anniversary and he was inviting the neighbors to go to a bar to have some fun. Link and James readily agreed. Bar Street is one of the liveliest areas in Miami's Palm Bay district, surrounded by Miami's largest Latino community with a permanent population of over 200,000, and two nearby resort villa areas with populations of around 50,000 each. The Bar Street is densely packed with dance halls, casinos, nightclubs, clubs, restaurants, and other buildings, and has a large flow of people. Link used to hang out in the neighborhood a lot, so he's quite familiar with the area. As the car arrived at the western section of the Bar Street, he suddenly remembered a boxing bar nearby that used boxing matches as its selling point, inviting boxers to compete from time to time, attracting hundreds or even thousands of spectators each time. Link decided to take a detour to check it out. James and Daniel from the hot dog stand next door heard his suggestion and rode their bikes to the boxing bar as well. The sign outside the boxing bar is a giant red boxing glove that lights up red at night, and there are many photos of boxing champions posted in the entrance corridor. It includes veteran boxing champions such as Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Michael Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Floyd Mayweather, and Roy Jones Jr. There are also rising boxing champions and boxing stars in recent years, such as Terence Crawford, Andre Ward, and Edison Miranda. Compared to the 1970s and 80s, when many famous boxers emerged, the American boxing scene today is facing a talent gap, with almost no promising newcomers worthy of attention. Most of the boxers active in the ring are veterans in their 30s and 40s. The reasons for this are very complex, related to the times, the current entertainment consumption situation, the methods of publicity and promotion, and the rules of boxing. However, the main reason is that the overall strength is not strong, and there is a lack of a powerful figure who can unify the four major organizations. Link looked at the photos on the wall and said to James and Daniel from the hot dog stand. Do you believe that my photo will be hanging here in the future? Huh, stop dreaming, this isn't your living room. James pushed him by the shoulder and led him inside. Link, secretly posting a close-up photo doesn't count, I can do that too. Daniel from the hot dog stand joked. Just you wait and see. Link clenched his fist, pushed open the glass door of the bar, and a huge wave of sound, along with heat and the smell of alcohol, rushed in. Hit him. Don't let him hug you. Mario, stop backing down. Punch him. Fuck you, you don't know how to box at all. Softy Mario, stop hitting him and go home to drink your milk. When Link and his two companions entered the bar, a boxing match was taking place in the ring. Two burly boxers were grappling with each other, crashing into the railing, before being separated by the referee. The boxing ring was surrounded by a large crowd of about 1,000 people, mostly adult men. After drinking, they would become very irritable, and if the boxer became passive and avoided fighting, they would curse and vent their dissatisfaction. It's so lively. We should have come sooner. Softy Mario, get down here. James hadn't even recognized who Mario was before he started yelling and shouting. Don't shout. Link picked at his ear, sat down on a chair at the bar, and sized up the two boxers in the ring. Both are of Latin descent and weigh around 90 kilograms, making them heavyweight competitors. One was a boxer with a fierce appearance, a fat body, and a big belly, who looked like a roly-poly toy. This was the softy Mario that the audience called him. His opponent was a muscular, bald, strong man. During the match, the bald, muscular man attacked relentlessly, putting on a spectacular show, while Mario constantly dodged and changed positions, frequently employing a clinching tactic and only occasionally launching an attack, displaying a very conservative playstyle. This is also why the audience is unhappy with him. In places like bars, people prefer to watch a spectacle. The more exciting the play, the more they will support it. Defensive tactics are not popular here. However, in Link's opinion, Mario's advances and retreats were measured and his defense was proper, which clearly showed that he had received professional boxing training, while the bald, strong man's fighting style was rather amateurish, without any rules or tactics, and he was just constantly wasting his strength. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, Mario will win this match. Sure enough, in the 5th round, Mario launched a surprise attack, knocking the bald, muscular man to the ground with a jab. The bald man struggled for a few moments but was unable to get up. Mario won the match. Who wants to come up on stage to challenge Mario in the 2nd round? The boxing referee addressed the audience through a microphone. The rules of the boxing match at the boxing bar are quite interesting. The bar owner placed a cash box in the boxing ring, containing $200 in cash. If patrons want to watch a boxing match, they put money into the cash register. Once the cash register accumulates $1,000, the bar will announce a boxing match. The boxer who wins 3 consecutive fights that night has the chance to empty the prize pool, regardless of gender or weight class. The strongest will take the money and leave. I'll do it. A burly black man took out $100 and threw it into the cash register. With the help of the bar staff, he put on braces and boxing gloves and went on stage. The second match began, and the burly black man was clearly prepared. After exchanging gloves with Mario, he started punching Mario's head repeatedly. In the 1st round, Mario was knocked down twice. In the 2nd round, Mario persevered and did not fall. In the 3rd round, the black man's strength gradually waned, and he was knocked down once by Mario in the 4th round. In the 5th round, Mario won the match. The burly black man was carried off the boxing ring. In the 3rd round, who else will come up to challenge Mario Joao? The referee shouted. After 2 matches, the patrons all knew that Mario was no pushover, and those who were originally going to go on stage were now hesitant. Hey, who wants to challenge me? Mario, riding high on his 2 consecutive victories, stood on a corner post, waving his fists and shouting at the crowd below. You call me a coward, so why don't you dare come up here? Huh, you're the cowards, you're all cowards. Mario raised his fist and laughed heartily. Link glanced at him, then at the cash box full of loose change, and took out a $100 bill from his pocket. Link, what are you doing? That's not a donation box. James asked, puzzled. I want to go up and box. Link pointed to the boxing ring. Are you crazy? James widened his eyes and said, you don't think that doing sit-ups and jumping rope at home will make you a boxer, do you? Boxing isn't as simple as you think. Link, go ahead, I'm calling an ambulance for you. Daniel, from the hot dog stand, took out his phone and said, pretending to be serious. Link glanced at the 2 men. He had originally wanted to ask them to bet on him to win so he could earn some pocket money, but the 2 looked like they deserved a beating, so he decided against it. Link squeezed through the crowd to the bottom of the ring, threw $100 into the cash box, took off his shirt, put on hand bandages and boxing gloves, and walked onto the ring. Wow, it's a pale-faced boy. Was he there to deliver money? Hey buddy, come down here, don't embarrass yourself up there. The audience started shouting. Link waved his fist at the boxing ring below, signaling them to shut up. Hey kid, are you sure you want to fight me? Mario crossed his arms, looked him up and down, and said, my fists can kill. Mine will too. Link raised his fist and said. Humph, you stubborn brat, I'll show you what happens when you brag. Mario grinned and said menacingly. Place your bets. Place your bets. Bet on the handsome, pale-faced boy to win. 10 times the odds. 10 times the odds. Guys, don't miss this chance to make a fortune. The bookmaker at the bar's gambling den shouted. 10 times the odds. A dollar bet can earn $10, James, shall we place a bet? Daniel, who works at the hot dog stand, said with some interest. Who are you betting on? Link? Are you crazy? You think he can beat Mario like that? James gestured with his hands to indicate the size of the two men. Although Link was very fit with large pectoral muscles and six-pack abs, he was obviously much smaller than Mario, who was fat and muscular like a roly-poly toy. Give it a try, just to cheer Link on. Daniel took 2 small bills out of his pocket and said. Okay, I'll bet $2 too, and I'll skip 1 hot dog tomorrow. You can skip 1 sandwich. Daniel from the hot dog stand took the money to the gambling den to place a bet. End of this chapter. Chapter 5 The Return of the Boxing Champion. During breaks in the matches, the bar will set aside 10 minutes for patrons to place bets, and also allow the boxers time to rest. But in Link's game, 10 minutes seemed too much. After he went on stage, the betting stall only received $13 in bets on him to win. Obviously, everyone knew that Link couldn't win, and no one was willing to give the betting stall money. On the boxing ring, Mario, having finished his break, walked up to Link. The two stood face to face, about the same height, around 186 centimeters. Link was tall and muscular, but his muscles weren't very large, while Mario was fat and stout, with a barrel waist and rounded arms that looked like cow hind legs. The two standing together looked like a bodybuilder and a sumo wrestler. Hee hee, kid, you're dead meat. Mario adjusted his boxing gloves, grinned, and gave a chilling laugh. If you're ugly, don't smile like that, it'll make you look even uglier. Link said calmly. A generous gift of crabs, what did you say? Mario was furious and swung his fist to hit him. Upon seeing this, the referee quickly came over and stopped him. Kid, you're dead meat, I swear to God. Mario cursed, panting heavily. Link shrugged and looked at him with disdain. Mario gritted his teeth in anger, wishing he could rush over and beat him up right now. The referee began announcing the rules of the game. During the competition, pushing, pulling, biting, and strangling are prohibited. Kicking the groin is not allowed, and striking the opponent with the head, shoulders, or elbows is also prohibited. Valid striking areas include the front and sides of the head, and the front and sides of the upper body above the waist. However, striking the arms does not score points. When the referee shouts, break, you must stop and step back, otherwise, you will lose. The coach was mainly speaking to Link, worried that he was too amateurish and might use forbidden moves if he got too anxious during the match. Link nodded, indicating that he fully understood. Boxing. After the announcement, the referee waved his right hand downwards, and the match began. Mario, slap him in the face, and I'll buy you a drink. Mario, beat him in 1 round, or you're a coward. Link, keep it up, and protect your nose. After the competition started, the patrons began to party and shout all sorts of nonsense. There were also some more professional spectators in the crowd, such as West Korean, Mario's coach. After the fight started, he could tell at a glance that Link was no novice. He saw that Link's body was relaxed, his hands were naturally hanging down, his feet were moving in and out in an orderly manner, and his steps were agile, just like a well-trained boxer. Mario, watch out. Don't underestimate him. West Korean stood up and roared. Unfortunately, it was too late. After the start of the match, Mario abandoned his usual conservative fighting style and chose to take the initiative to attack. He took 2 steps in the middle of the ring and rushed directly in front of Link. Seeing that Link didn't dodge in time, he was overjoyed, roared, and swung his fist at Link's handsome yet hateful face. This was a jab, fast and vicious, with a tricky angle. If it hit him, his nose could very well be broken. Just as Mario threw his punch, West Korean's eyes widened in shock. He saw Link barely move his shoulder, just slightly tilt his head, and narrowly and skillfully dodge Mario's fist, as if he had completely anticipated Mario's attack route. However, what happened next shocked West Korean even more. Just as Mario's fist grazed past Link's hair, Link's left fist appeared out of nowhere on Mario's side, and Mario was completely unprepared. Molly. Bang! Before West could even yell, watch out, Link's swinging fist slammed into Mario's face. The impact was so severe that the fat on Mario's face rippled violently. The pink braces, dripping with saliva, flew out of the mouth and appeared translucent under the incandescent light. Mario staggered a few steps, his body tilting to one side, before crashing onto the boxing ring with a thud, kicking up a cloud of dust. The scene was completely silent. Thousands of spectators stood frozen in place, their necks tilted back at a 45-degree angle, their mouths agape in an O shape, staring blankly at the boxing ring. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As the referee began the countdown for Mario lying on the ground, the audience gradually thawed from their frozen state. Boom! That pale-faced kid won. How is that possible? He's so skinny, how could he knock Mario down with one punch? Who is that pale-faced guy? His name is Link. Link Baker. He's my partner. James's round face flushed with excitement as he raised his hands and kept calling Link's name. Link won. That's unbelievable. Daniel also roared excitedly. Link, you're the best. Looking at the crowded audience below the stage and listening to their shouts, Link's heart raced. He felt as if he had returned to the boxing ring of the past, with the audience, the ring, his opponent, and himself, everything seemed unchanged. He liked the feeling of defeating his opponents and receiving cheers. Link clenched his fist forcefully. I hereby declare that the winner of the first match is Link Baker. The referee raised Link's arm. For the second match, does anyone want to challenge Link? I'm here, he must have just happened to defeat Mario. He won by sneak attack, he's not that good. I could take him down too. He's not as strong as me, so he can't possibly be that good. If I had $100, I could definitely beat him to a pulp. Is there any guy willing to sponsor me $100? The crowd below was noisy, and many people wanted to go up and beat him up, but only 5 people held up $100 bills and lined up at the bottom of the ring. The first one to come up was a strong Latino man with an anaconda tattoo on his shoulder. The burly man was over 190 centimeters tall, with thick muscles and broad shoulders like a door panel. When he walked over, he gave people a sense of overwhelming pressure. Hey kid, beating Mario by luck is nothing. I can take you down in one round, you believe me? The burly anaconda said provocatively, waving his fist. If you don't believe me, there's nothing hard about you except your mouth. You're more of a coward than Mario. Link gave the other person a disdainful look, sizing him up from head to toe. Fuck. Kid, you've angered me. I said one round, and that's it. If it goes past one round, I lose. The burly anaconda roared, waving its fist. Link smiled, a slight curl at the corner of his lips. The referee came over, announced the rules of the game, and the game began. I'll fuck you to death. The anaconda giant didn't touch his gloves. At the start of the match, he swung his fist, the size of a sandbag, and smashed it hard into Link's forehead. Watch closely. From below the stage, West Korean yelled at Mario, who had just woken up. Mario leaned back in his chair, an ice pack on his forehead, feeling dizzy. His face was no longer so fierce as he squinted at the fight in the ring. The anaconda threw a punch at Link's head, but Link deftly dodged it by tilting his head. Look at his right hand. West shouted. Mario's eyes widened suddenly. Just as he was watching Link dodge his opponent's deadly attack, he was surprised to find that Link's right fist had somehow arrived in his opponent's face. Bang! Link's hook punch made intimate contact with the anaconda's jawbone. The anaconda struck the man's chin, causing his head to snap back violently. He spewed out a mouthful of water mist, staggered back 3 steps, and crashed backward onto the boxing ring. The sight of a 1.9-meter tall man slamming to the ground was truly astonishing. There was a 2-second silence under the boxing ring, then a loud bang erupted. KO, KO again. Why is it this trick again? Does he only know one move? Link, the champion. Link, the champion. James and Daniel were ecstatic. They linked arms and danced the Cuban salsa in the crowd. Another punch. Mario stared in disbelief, the ice pack on his head somehow slipping to the ground. Another knockout. But this is no ordinary punch. His speed, power, reaction speed, boxing technique, and boxing awareness are all reflected in this one punch. He is definitely not an ordinary boxer. West Korean stared intently at Link in the ring, believing Link had the potential to become a top boxer, even a champion. He wanted to become Link's coach and train him to become a boxing champion, but the eagerness in his eyes cooled down in an instant. A boxer of Link's level could not possibly lack a coach. West, is it possible that this is the only move he knows? If I had prepared in advance and adopted a defensive strategy, he would never have been able to knock me down with one punch. Mario sensed that his coach was about to fall for someone else, so he quickly gave him a heads up. West shook his head. With his speed and strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to break through your defense. In terms of skill, he's at least in the top 10 among the amateur boxers I know. West, you're exaggerating. If he were that good, would he be participating in a competition like this? Mario curled his lip. West frowned, wondering why a boxer of Link's caliber would be here. The third match is about to begin. The third challenger was a lean, muscular black man who wore white shorts and bounced around on stage, appearing very agile. Link has met his match. He will never win this round so easily. Mario clapped his hands and laughed. On the boxing ring, the third match began. Link touched gloves with the boxer in white shorts, but before he could throw a punch, the boxer in white shorts quickly stepped back and circled around him at the edge of the ring, refusing to engage him at all. Johnson, run. Don't let him catch you. Johnson, you are a sprint champion. Link, kill him. Link smiled as he looked at the man in white shorts. Apart from being fast and agile, his opponent was weaker than Mario and the Anaconda in other aspects. As long as he could outspeed him, he wouldn't be difficult to deal with. As the man in white shorts retreated to the corner, Link took a step forward and rushed to the opposite side of the man in white shorts. The man in white shorts was startled and raised his fists to block in front of him. Link used a jab to deflect his opponent's defense, and taking advantage of the opponent's unpreparedness, he followed up with a backhand hook punch that landed on the opponent's face. Bang! The boxing glove struck the side of the white shorts' forehead, causing the white shorts to stagger a few steps, crash into the ropes, struggle a few times, and fall off the stage through a gap in the ropes. Wow! Another knockout with one punch. A gasp of surprise rippled through the crowd. The audience knew he was very skilled and powerful, and didn't need to resort to a sneak attack to win. They started applauding and cheering for him, shouting his name loudly. Link won. The pale-faced boy won, he's really good. He only needed one punch to take down 3 opponents. I bet he must be a professional boxer. I hereby declare that Link Baker is the champion of this month's Red Gloves Bar boxing tournament. The referee held up Link's arm and shouted. Boxing champion Link. Boxing champion Link. The audience cheered loudly. Link closed his eyes and listened to the cheers from the audience. He felt his soul was more relaxed and active than ever before. I am Link the boxer, not Link the diver. I should walk my own path. Link suddenly opened his eyes, a resolute look showing on his handsome brows. He decided to continue boxing, to continue the path he had not finished in his previous life, to achieve the goal he could not achieve in his previous life, to become a boxing champion, and to become a legend in the boxing world. Boxing champion Link. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Come on, the boxing ring needs you. Leaving the boxing bar, James laughed out loud on the street. He had just bet $2 on Link and won $20. In the second round, Link's odds dropped to 1:2, so he continued to bet on Link, turning 20 into 40, making $40 free. Daniel did the same. However, Link earned the most. Tonight's competition had a base prize of $1,000, and 8 people competed, bringing the prize pool to $1,800. He earned $1,800 in less than half an hour. Although it's not as much as Tyson earning $20 million in 90 seconds or Mayweather earning $250 million in 36 minutes, it's a good start. Hey, Mr. Link Baker, wait a minute. Hearing someone shout, Link stopped the car and turned around to see a thin old man wearing a baseball jersey getting out of the car. The old man was a Latino black man, not tall, with thin cheeks and a few age spots on his cheekbones, and a kind face. Although the old man was old, he was in good spirits and spoke in a loud voice. Behind him followed a fat man with a face full of scars. It was Mario, who had just been knocked down by Link in the boxing ring. When he saw Link, Mario snorted heavily and turned his face to the side. "Mr. Baker, may I have a word with you? My name is West Korean, and I'm a coach at the West Boxing Club." West Korean handed him a business card. Link took the business card, looked at it, and greeted him. "Link, which club do you train at? Who is your coach? Maybe I know your coach." West asked. "I don't have a coach right now, so I'm practicing at home on my own." "Huh, nonsense. You think you can train like that on your own? Are you implying that all of us from boxing gyms are useless?" Mario rolled his eyes and said. James chuckled. "I can vouch for that. Link just trains casually, doing jump rope and sit-ups. He's never been to a boxing gym or stepped into a ring before. This is his first time. For Link to beat you on his first time in the ring, you're really something else." Mario's face fell, and he shut his mouth and stopped talking. West Korean's expression grew even more eager. "Link, you have such talent, it would be a shame if you didn't box. I'd like to invite you to train at my gym. What do you think?" Link noticed that the business card indicated West Boxing Gym was also in Palm Beach, not far from the outer beach, so training there would be a good option. "Coach West, how much does your boxing gym charge?" $2,000 per month, equipment and food expenses are separate, and payment is made on time at the beginning of each month without delay. Mario snorted. No, I don't want any money, not a single penny." Coach West shoved Mario aside and said, "Everything is free as long as you come." "What are you saying?" Mario exclaimed, his eyes wide with displeasure. "You said I'm very talented and have to pay $1,000 every month, so why doesn't he have to pay a single cent?" "Shut up." Coach West glared at him, then asked Link with a smile, "What do you think?" "That sounds good. I'll go to your boxing gym tomorrow." "Okay, I'll be at the boxing gym all tomorrow. You can come anytime, I'll be waiting for you." Coach West grabbed Link's hand and shook it vigorously, his attitude very enthusiastic. Link and his two companions had to rush to a party, so they said goodbye and rode away on their bikes. Mario's dissatisfied voice rang out again. "Why? Why can he get it for free and I can't, West? This isn't fair. Don't complain. He's a genius. He can beat you, someone who's only been practicing for 3 years, just by practicing on his own. He deserves special treatment." "Genius? Humph, when he goes to the boxing gym tomorrow, I'll beat him to a pulp and show him who the real genius is," Mario said, clenching his fist. West shook his head, opened the car door and said, "If Link is willing to join the boxing gym, you can be his sparring partner from now on." "What?" Mario stared wide-eyed at West in disbelief. Back when he joined the gym, he became its star player, West's own son, and all the other boxers were his sparring partners. Now that Link had arrived, he had become the sparring partner. Is this life? Is it really that cruel? That's right, Link is very good. His speed and strength are at the level of a professional boxer. If you are his sparring partner, you will improve faster. Don't forget that boxing champion John Ruiz was Lewis's sparring partner, boxing champion McCall was Tyson's sparring partner, and boxing champion Larry Holmes was Ali's sparring partner. Being his sparring partner is not a belittling of you, but a recognition and training of you. Humph, why not let him be my sparring partner? Mario complained. West glanced at him and said quietly. Link's punches are quite heavy, you probably can't handle them. Maybe I should consider finding him a better sparring partner. Mario opened his mouth, okay, I'm not even qualified to be his sparring partner. Link, James, and Daniel went to the Pink Lovers Bar for the surfboard shop's 2nd anniversary celebration. The group of them drank, picked up girls, smoked, and had a great time. Link didn't want to harm his body, so he refused drugs, gambling, cigarettes, alcohol, and junk food. He was a bit out of place at the party and went home to sleep before 9 p.m. Ding dong. I just lay down in bed when I received an MSN message from Taylor Swift, whom I recently added. Are you asleep? No, I just came back from the bar. Link talked about the anniversary celebration of the surfboard store next door, and Taylor also talked about the rehearsals at Hard Rock Stadium. He said that the rehearsals were tiring and more complicated than the live performance, but he felt happy just thinking about being able to stand on the stage and sing. Link laughed. He felt the same way in the boxing ring. The next day, Taylor got up early and continued running on the beach promenade. Around 9 o'clock, Taylor waved to a middle-aged woman on the beach promenade and walked over from the sandbar carrying a natural wood guitar. Today she changed into a white sundress with a light blue belt. Her tall and slender figure was like a budding flower. Her hair was tied into a loose ponytail, swaying as she walked. When she saw him at the door, she smiled and waved. "Link, are you waiting for me here?" "Yes, I guessed you would come at this time." Link laughed. Taylor smiled slightly and began to teach him how to play the guitar. The two sat on a blanket facing the sea. One patiently taught, and the other gritted his teeth and learned. Both were very serious, but progress was slow. At first, Taylor could tolerate his temper, but later he decided not to tolerate it anymore and punched Taylor's shoulder muscles. "Wow, so sweet. Are they dating?" Daniel, who works at the hot dog stand, came over licking his ice cream and asked. James looked up from his Playboy magazine, glanced at the men and women on the beach, and said with a smirk, "No, they're just having a guitar lesson." "It doesn't seem like it." Taylor is almost leaning into Link's arms. Could it be a teacher-student relationship? The two looked at each other and burst into laughter. Link had no time to pay attention to the teasing of the two people behind him. His attention was entirely focused on the 6 strings of the guitar, and he also had to deal with Taylor to avoid being criticized by her. After practicing for 2 or 3 hours, he roughly understood the differences between the 6 strings and the positions of the C, D, E, F, G, A, and B notes, but he was still a long way from being able to play a complete piece. During practice, he noticed something strange. Taylor seemed to be intentionally or unintentionally getting closer to him and having some intimate contact with him, which made him a little embarrassed, unsure whether he should accept Taylor. Taylor is beautiful and a big star, having her as a girlfriend would be great. But Taylor has had a rich romantic history after becoming famous. Her ex-boyfriends could form a football team. Calling her a Queen of the Sea wouldn't be a bad thing. Link didn't consider himself a match for her in this regard, so he tried to be careful when they were together. In the afternoon, Taylor's mother, Mrs. Andrea, came to pick her up for rehearsal. When she saw Link, she gave him a deep look that made Link's scalp tingle. He felt that dealing with these women was more difficult than winning a championship in a cage battle. After seeing Taylor off, Link also rode his scooter to West Boxing Gym for a look. End of this chapter. Chapter 7 Joining the Boxing Gym. Mario, didn't you have breakfast? Put some effort into it, be more decisive. If you keep punching like that, you won't be able to withstand a single punch from Link even after 10 years of training. West, don't mention that bastard Link. I underestimated him yesterday and wasn't prepared. If I had to fight him again, I would never lose. Don't talk, just focus on practicing. On the boxing ring in the training area on the 2nd floor of the West Boxing Club, Mario and a boxer in a black vest are sparring. Coach West, wearing a white baseball jersey and holding a notebook, is giving instructions from below the ring. Link walked around the boxing gym, looking at the environment and training equipment. Yesterday, Coach West kept coming to persuade him to join. He thought West was a coach at a small boxing gym, but it turned out to be more professional than he expected. The building has 3 floors, a steel frame structure, and a glass curtain wall, providing excellent natural light. The first floor houses offices and a canteen, the second floor is a training area, and the third floor contains dormitories and offices. There is an elevator connecting the floors. The training area is next to the boxing ring. It has all the necessary equipment, such as rubber punching pads, pear-shaped balls, resistance bands, punching bags, and barbell racks. There are more than a dozen young people doing strength training, and the atmosphere in the boxing gym is very lively. Link, this is a picture of Coach West when he was a boxer. The gym staff followed Link and introduced him, saying that this man was Robinson, the gym manager, who had come up to Link when he entered. He said he would show him around, especially the Wall of Honor. On the walls of the training hall hang photos of West Korean during his boxing matches when he was young. In his youth, West was a middleweight boxer and trained at the same gym as Roy Jones Jr.'s father. He debuted in the early 1970s and in 1978 fought against boxing champion Sugar Ray Leonard for the WBO middleweight title, but lost. Sugar was the first boxer in boxing history to accumulate $100 million in prize money, demonstrating his formidable strength. Manager Robinson also mentioned that Coach West retired in the early 1980s and began coaching boxing, where he has nearly 30 years of experience. Very good. Has this gym produced any successful boxers? Link asked. Yes. Of course. Manager Robinson then rattled off the names of several boxers that Link had never heard of in his entire life. Only one boxer, Robert Allen, is relatively well known. He once competed against boxing champion Bernard Hopkins for the IBF middleweight title in 1999, but lost. He later became a second-rate boxer and has now retired. Seeing the regret on Manager Robinson's face, Link laughed and said, "It's okay, I'm here, so the boxing champion is here now." Manager Robinson glanced at him, unsure whether he was serious or joking, and could only agree that that was fantastic. "Ha, Link, you're here." Coach West walked over laughing, as if he had just seen Link. In fact, he had received the news when Link entered, but it was more appropriate to leave the task of introducing the gym's honors to Robinson. "Link, what do you think of this place?" Coach West pointed to the clean and tidy boxing gym and asked, "The gym used to be quite messy. Last night, I called on everyone in the gym, plus 4 hourly workers, to stay up all night cleaning it up, which made the gym look much better." "Very good, very professional." Link nodded in approval. Coach West chuckled. "Link, I'm glad you like it here. Practicing boxing at home is not as good as training at the gym. Here we have training equipment and sparring partners. Join West Boxing Gym, and I will do everything I can to support you, providing you with the best training facilities, environment, and logistical support. What do you say?" Seeing his hesitation, West added, "Before you fight professionally, all the gym services are free. After you fight professionally, the coaching team will only take 5% of your prize money." Link thought for a moment. The conditions offered by Coach West were quite favorable. According to the rules of the boxing world, after a boxer enters the professional boxing world, the coaching team can receive 1% to 15% of the boxer's prize money. The greater the contribution of the coaching team, the more they receive. Coaches also play a crucial role in the development of boxers. In addition to regular training, coaches develop training plans for boxers, try to make up for their shortcomings, and improve their boxing skills. In boxing matches, the coaching team also needs to develop appropriate match plans for the boxers. In critical moments, the coach can even throw the towel to the boxer to save their life. A good boxing coach can make a boxer. For example, many people believe that Mike Tyson's coach, Cus D'Amato, was the one who developed Tyson. If Cus had not died in 1985, Tyson's peak period would have been extended by 2,000 years. And then there's Holyfield's coach, Lou Duval. Lou Duva is one of the founding members of the Boxing Hall of Fame and the owner of a major event promotion company. He has trained 19 boxing champions, including Evander Holyfield and Vitak. Compared to these famous coaches, West Korean's record is far inferior, but Link doesn't care. His strength and speed are steadily improving in training and will only get stronger in the future. There's no need to worry too much about the matches. What he needs now is a skilled support team and a guide to help him enter the world of boxing. West Korean has been in the boxing business for over 30 years and should be quite skilled. Even if he's not perfect, it doesn't matter, there's always time to replace him in the future. Coach West, it's a pleasure working with you. Link reached out his hand and said. "Ha, Link, it's a pleasure doing business with you." Coach West grabbed his hand and shook it hard, shouting towards the boxing ring and training area, "Everyone stop. Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Link Baker, a new member of our boxing gym. His boxing skills are outstanding. Last night at the Red Gloves bar, he knocked out Mario with one punch." "Wow. Really?" A gasp rippled through the crowd. Everyone looked at Link in surprise, then at Mario with strange expressions, asking him if it was really true. He really couldn't even withstand a single punch. So weak? Mario's face turned red with embarrassment. He had intended to keep the news a secret, but West had revealed it to everyone in public, showing him no respect whatsoever. It was too embarrassing. He glared at West, then looked at Link and exclaimed, "Don't laugh at me, everyone. Link is incredibly strong, a real heavy hitter. West said none of us could withstand a single punch from Link, and that he'll become a boxing champion someday. You know what? Link doesn't have to pay a cent for food or clothing here. West is even willing to pay for his training himself." Everyone looked at Link with displeasure. No one likes an outcast in their group. "Mario, don't talk nonsense here," Coach West scolded. "No, I'm not lying, West, that's exactly what you told me." Mario crossed his arms and turned his face away disdainfully. Link chuckled, picked up a pair of boxing gloves, and said, "Mario, we're boxers. Talking loudly is useless, being able to fight is the real skill. How about we have another match? Hopefully, you won't fall down so quickly this time. Alright, Link, today I'll show you what absolute defense really is." Mario waved his thick arms and roared excitedly. Bang! 30 seconds later, Mario's face slammed heavily onto the boxing ring. This time he fought very carefully, protecting his head with his arms from the start of the match, his eyes fixed on Link's fists. As soon as Link's shoulder moved, he would concentrate on defense. Unfortunately, his defense was still not tight enough. Link only threw a combination punch, first hitting Mario's ribs, forcing Mario to shift his center of gravity downwards. The second punch hit the left side of his jaw, causing Mario to shift his center of gravity. The third punch knocked him to the ground. Mario lay sprawled on the boxing ring, eyes rolling back, enjoying another bout of dizziness less than 12 hours later. "I feel terrible." Fortunately, Link held back this time and didn't hurt him too much. He lay on the ground for a few seconds, glared at Link, and walked off the boxing ring dejectedly. West laughed and said to the 4 adult boxers around him, "You guys go up and spar with Link, and see how good a high-level boxer is." 4 adult boxers lined up to spar with Link. Since it was a sparring session, he didn't use his full strength. He sparred with each of them for 5 or 6 rounds, and with his skillful technique and stamina, he left the 4 of them panting and unsteady on their feet, forcing them to admit defeat. "Link, you bastard, why do you take 4 or 5 rounds to fight them, but only 1 round to fight me? Are you worried that if you fight for too long, you won't have enough stamina and I'll turn the tables on you?" Mario sat in the audience, holding a water bottle and shouting. Link was somewhat helpless. This guy had already been knocked out twice, yet he still wanted to get revenge with words. He could only say perfunctorily, "Yes, you have great stamina. I need to finish this quickly to defeat you." "Huh, I knew it, Link, next time I'm going to fight you 12 rounds. Mario pumped his fist and shouted excitedly. Link smiled. Although this guy looked fierce, he was actually quite cute at heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 8 Career Planning. Link, you're only 20 years old. That's amazing. In the office, Coach West Korean looked through the information card he had just filled out and looked at him with some surprise when he saw that he was born in February 1989. Doesn't it look like it? Link, with a citrus-flavored lollipop in his mouth, raised his handsome eyebrows and smiled. Huh, your personalities are different. Young boxers are more flamboyant in the ring and their emotions are more outward, while you have been very quiet and composed from beginning to end. I thought you were older. Coach West exclaimed in admiration. Link smiled slightly. He wasn't being calm, he just felt that defeating a few ordinary people wasn't something to boast about, and there was no need to get too excited. If he were to defeat a current WBA WBC IBF WBO champion and fulfill his dream from his past life, he would roar with excitement. West, I have 2 prison records. Will that affect my amateur competitions? Link pointed to the criminal records on the form, which included 2 entries, a previous conviction for 3 months in prison and 200 hours of community service for theft and fighting. This is a crime committed by the predecessor, and now he needs to take the blame. West glanced at him and was somewhat surprised. He had thought the boy was a good kid, but he didn't expect him to have a criminal record. He could only sigh and say that you can't judge a book by its cover. It won't affect your amateur matches, but if you achieve good results in boxing in the future, these records will be exposed by the media, adding some negative information to your record. It doesn't matter if there are scandals, being infamous is still being famous. Link didn't care about what would happen after he became famous. He continued, West, I'm planning to fight in amateur matches for 6 months first, and then go pro next year. What do you think? Only play amateur matches for half a year? West paused for a moment, then said, Link, isn't this too hasty? While amateur matches aren't as difficult as professional boxing, there are still some formidable opponents. Playing in amateur matches is a good training opportunity for you. Take Holyfield, for example. He fought 160 amateur matches, which honed his skills and allowed him to perform so well in professional matches. West, I understand what you mean, but I have confidence in my own abilities. Seeing that West was about to try to persuade him, Link held out his palm to interrupt him and said, West, I have a proposal. I will participate in as many amateur matches as possible within 6 months. If I lose, I will postpone my transition to professional boxing. Otherwise, listen to me and enter the professional boxing world after 6 months. West Korean thought about it and agreed that this arrangement would work. If Link can win consecutive victories within 6 months, it means that his strength is sufficient to handle professional competitions, and it would be a waste for him to remain in the amateur circle. But he didn't think Link could remain undefeated for 6 months. Once Link entered the boxing ring, he would know how many top boxers there were. Okay, I will arrange for you to participate in the amateur competition as soon as possible. In the meantime, make the most of your training time. Link nodded his chin. Boxing is a sport that is divided into amateur and professional competitions. Amateur competitions include Olympic boxing matches, Continental Game boxing matches, World Championship boxing matches, and the Golden Gloves boxing competition, among others. Professional matches mainly refer to boxing matches initiated by and supervised and managed by international professional boxing organizations. The 4 most prestigious boxing organizations currently are the World Boxing Association, WBA, the World Boxing Council, WBC, the International Boxing Federation, IBF, and the World Boxing Organization, WBO. There are also many smaller professional boxing organizations such as the IBO, WBF, IBA, and NBA. Each professional boxing organization has its own rules and regulations, as well as its own competition format. Amateur competitions are supervised and managed by the organizers of the sports meet, while professional sports meets are supervised and managed by professional boxing organizations. Another more obvious difference between the two is their degree of integration with commerce. Amateur competitions are not highly commercialized, and boxers mainly compete for honor. Professional boxing is highly commercialized, involving commercial operations throughout the entire process, from pre-match promotion and publicity to ticket sales, PPV subscriptions, and post-match hype. Boxing matches are primarily about winning prize money, honor is secondary. As Floyd Mayweather told his old rival De La Hoya, "Want to fight me? Fine. But if you don't have $100 million, then don't call me." Boxing promotion companies have taken money grubbing to the extreme, refusing to let anyone with money compete against their fighters. This practice is one of the reasons why the American boxing scene has been lacking in talent in recent years. Link wants to turn professional as soon as possible, while the North American boxing scene is not yet in complete decline, to earn more US dollars. With US dollars, it will be easier to challenge other boxing champions. Mario, are you alright? In the boxing ring, Link put on his boxing gloves again and practiced boxing. When he suggested doing sparring, Mario volunteered to be his sparring partner. Link said his punches were quite heavy and asked him to wear a boxing helmet for self-defense to prevent injury. Mario said it wasn't necessary, he could handle it, and told Link to go all out. But Mario only lasted a short while before he was knocked off balance and staggered. "I'm fine, I can do it." Mario shook his head, struggled to get up from the ground, his knees buckled, and he almost fell down again. "Mario, put on your protective gear. If you don't want to, then let Reggie train with Link." Coach West shouted. Mario snorted and reluctantly put on the highly elastic sponge headgear and sponge armor to protect his head and body. After putting on the protective gear, Mario's already bulky body became even more muscular. "Ha, Link, come and hit me. I can definitely catch your punch now." Mario tapped his headgear with his fist and laughed. Link chuckled softly, raised his fists, and continued attacking Mario. With the protection of the sponge headgear, Mario's ability to withstand blows has been greatly improved, and he will no longer be easily knocked down. Bang bang bang. Link swung his fists wildly, throwing straight punches, hooks, jabs, uppercuts, and jabs, 5 basic punches, as well as combinations of the 5 punches, one after another at Mario, making it a very enjoyable fight. After practicing for more than an hour, Link's strong back was drenched in sweat, while Mario lay stiffly on the ground, panting heavily. "Link, are you a wild beast? Why are you so strong?" Mario said weakly. When he fought Link before, he thought Link was only that strong. But after training with Link for more than an hour, he realized how terrifying Link was. His fists were like iron hammers, fast and fierce. Even with protective gear, he would be knocked back repeatedly. "That guy is a beast. I was just born strong. You rest first, I'll go practice on the rubber target." Link handed Mario a bottle of water and stepped off the boxing ring. The other boxers couldn't help but look at Mario with admiration as he was beaten to a pulp by Link even while wearing protective gear. Mario weighs 208 pounds and is a heavyweight boxer, while Link weighs 168 pounds and is in the super middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. He can beat Mario even though he is in a different weight class, which shows how strong he is. Coach West was overjoyed to see Link defeat Mario, and he laughed heartily. The power Link just displayed was greater than he had imagined, and his speed was also faster. The combination punches he threw were also very skillful, just like a veteran boxer who had been practicing for many years. His mentality and boxing awareness were also extremely experienced. West felt like he had struck gold, a gold mine with huge reserves. "West, you've seen my playing style, do you have any suggestions for improvement?" Link wiped the sweat from his neck and chest muscles with a towel. West hesitated for a moment. "Link, your combination punches were fantastic, but there are a few minor issues that I'm not sure if you've noticed." "What's the problem, West? Just say it." "You make small movements like raising your knees, swinging your elbows, and stepping on your feet during the match. Did you train in freestyle fighting before?" West asked. Link nodded his chin. "This isn't a habitual movement from practicing free fighting, but rather a bad habit developed from fighting in underground boxing rings for too long. Underground boxing matches place more emphasis on visual effects and are subject to more relaxed supervision. As long as no major fouls occur, they are not considered violations. This leniency led to boxers constantly using dirty tricks and fighting in a very dirty style. Link, who had been fighting in underground boxing rings for nearly 10 years, also developed some bad habits. However, he was trying his best to restrain himself. "West, I used to get into a lot of fights on the street and didn't pay much attention to the rules. I'll be more careful in the future." "Okay, you can continue practicing." Link felt he still had energy left, so he continued practicing boxing on the human-shaped rubber target. The human-shaped rubber target is harder than a human body. It only has bandages to protect the hands, so it is very tiring to hit. However, the rubber target is quite sturdy, so you don't have to worry about it getting damaged. It is very enjoyable to practice with. While Link was practicing his boxing, West and his boxing apprentices stood at a distance watching him. They watched as he punched the rubber target with great force, making the target shake violently. They couldn't help but marvel at his performance. "I heard that when Tyson was practicing boxing, he often knocked out his sparring partners and smashed punching bags. Link did something similar. Could Link become a boxer as good as Tyson?" Mario's eyes twitched at the sight, it was too brutal. If Link had fought like that on stage, he probably would have been beaten to a pulp long ago. "Everyone, stop watching and get to training." West waved his hand, shooing away several boxers and boxing apprentices. "He's not that strong, how come he's so powerful?" Mario said enviously. "That's talent, you can't envy it." West was also envious. If he had Link's talent back then, he wouldn't have been able to fight for 10 years without winning a single championship belt. "Mario, you've seen Link's strength. Whether it's power or speed, he's one of the best in professional boxing. If you can train with him for 3 years, it won't be difficult for him to win the Intercontinental Boxing title in the future," West said. Mario scratched his cheek. "West, have you ever considered another possibility? I've trained with him for 3 years, and he might beat me to death." "It's possible, so whether or not you want to be his sparring partner is up to you." West patted Mario on the shoulder and went to arrange a match for Link. Mario stared at Link's retreating figure, clenching his fists tightly. He was annoyed that he was too weak to withstand Link's attacks, which was why he had to send Link to use the rubber man. This was a failure of his duty as a sparring partner. "Link, I'll continue to be your sparring partner tomorrow." Mario roared with all his might. "I heard you, no need to shout so loudly. Merry Christmas. Please add this to your favorites." End of this chapter. Chapter 9 is about Taylor Swift driving. After training, Link got his phone in the gym's locker room. There were 2 messages from Taylor Swift an hour earlier, asking what he was doing and talking about rehearsals. Link thought for a moment and then called Taylor Swift directly. "Hello, this is Taylor's mother. She is currently rehearsing and cannot answer your call at the moment." Taylor Swift's mother, Mrs. Andrea, spoke through the microphone. "Hello, Mrs. Andrea, this is Link. When will Taylor's rehearsal end?" Link said politely. "Not yet determined. Okay, I'll contact her later." The call ended quickly, and Popo's voice came through. Link sensed that Mrs. Andrea didn't like him much, her politeness was tinged with coldness. But it doesn't matter, he didn't intend to pursue Lady Andrea, so he didn't need to please her. Link replied to Taylor Swift's message and rode his motorcycle around downtown Miami. He'd been in Miami for over a month and hadn't been anywhere outside of Palm Beach. With the weather nice, he figured it would be nice to wander around. Miami is the most populous city in Florida, located in the southeastern corner of the United States. The city is comprised of 3 counties, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Baker's shop is located on the middle section of the outer beach in Palm Beach County, a beach known as the Gold Coast due to its high-quality sand. Miami is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the Gulf of Mexico to the west. It is located in a subtropical monsoon climate zone with temperatures above 15 degrees Celsius year-round. It has 2 seasons, winter and summer, with relatively warm winter temperatures. Because of its warm and humid climate, lush vegetation, and evergreen trees, Miami is free from industrial pollution and has extremely high air quality. As a result, it is known as the Garden City, America's retirement center, and God's waiting room. Miami is also an international metropolis and home to the Latin American regional headquarters of many multinational corporations, including Disney, ExxonMobil, FedEx, Microsoft, Oracle, and Sony. It holds an important position in finance, commerce, media, entertainment, art, and international trade. Miami was named the cleanest city in the United States by Forbes magazine last May, and this March it was named the richest city in the United States and the 5th richest city in the world by UBS. In Palm Beach, skyscrapers, 5-star hotels, luxury resort apartments, and oceanfront villas are everywhere, and luxury cars line the streets one after another, even more densely than at a luxury car expo. Link was weaving through luxury cars on his scooter when his phone rang twice as he passed the Trump International Resort Hotel. "You're practicing boxing. Why are you practicing boxing?" "I also know boxing. When can we have a match?" Fists up and laughs. Link smiled as he read the message. Taylor Swift is actually quite cute when she's not throwing a tantrum. "I practice boxing because I like it, and the diving shop business is not doing well, so I plan to work part-time as a boxer to earn some pocket money. I won't fight you. You're a girl, and if I punch you, you'll cry for a long time." Ding dong ding dong. Taylor sent several more messages, telling him that boxing was not a good choice, that boxing was too dangerous, and that he had a very nice, magnetic voice, suggesting he consider becoming a singer. A singer? Link chuckled. His voice was indeed good, and his singing was passable, but he couldn't sing at all. He couldn't even read sheet music. Making a living as a singer was too difficult, unless Taylor Swift invited him to team up with her. Taylor would sing, and he'd do the yay. "Miss Ivanka, here are your car keys." As he was replying to Taylor's message, a waiter in a red shirt brushed past him, handing a car key to a woman coming out of the hotel. Link looked up, his blue eyes flashing, somewhat amazed. The woman was tall, about 180 centimeters, wearing stiletto heels, almost the same height as Link. She wore exquisite sunglasses, a navy blue shirt, and a black skirt. Her figure was curvaceous, with a heavy, slender front and back. Although Taylor is also 180 centimeters tall and has a good figure, her development is not comparable to that of the woman in front of her. Link felt the woman looked familiar, and as she passed by, he called out, "Miss Ivaka, I'm a fan of yours, could you give me your autograph?" The woman stopped and turned to look at him. Seeing that he was a handsome young man, she smiled and said, "Are you my fan?" "Yes, I have read your report, and I think you are a very wise woman." "Thanks." The woman smiled politely. Link patted his pockets and shrugged regretfully. "I forgot to bring a pen, Miss Ivaka. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Link Baker, and I am an excellent boxer." "A boxer? You're really good." The woman adjusted her glasses, looked him up and down, and smiled. "Yes, Miss Ivaka, soon you will see me on TV and in the news, and they will call me the boxing champion." Link raised his handsome eyebrows and said confidently, "Huh, you're very interesting. Goodbye, Mr. Boxer." The woman waved, got into the red Ferrari Enzo parked by the roadside, started the car, and drove away in a gust of wind, her blonde hair billowing in the breeze. Link shrugged. It was a pity he didn't bring a pen. Iva's autograph could probably sell for tens of dollars in the future. He suddenly flicked his forehead. Once he became a boxing champion, earning tens or hundreds of millions of dollars per match, what were a few dozen dollars? It's true that a poor person can't change their poor mindset. The rehearsal is almost over, and I'm going to eat. There's a seafood restaurant run by Italians next to the stadium, their shrimp soup is amazing. Do you want to try it? Taylor sent a message asking. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Taylor rehearsed at Hard Rock Arena, located in the affluent West Palm Beach neighborhood. It boasts a prime environment, convenient transportation, and proximity to the beach, and is also known as Miami Gardens. Link arrived at the east gate of Hard Rock Stadium in 8 minutes. This arena is the home of the Miami Dolphins, a team in the National Football League. It is Miami's largest and most luxurious arena, with a capacity of 65,000 people, 2 to 3 times larger than the American Airlines Arena, the home of the Miami Heat. A music rehearsal was underway inside the stadium, while people came and went in front of the entrance. Many fans who came to support their idols sat on the grass in front of the stadium, holding up posters of stars such as Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Carrie Underwood, Alison Krauss, and Vince Gill, waiting for their idols to appear from the stadium. Among them were a few Taylor Swift fans. Link waited in front of the door for more than 10 minutes before Taylor, wearing a pink baseball cap, a printed t-shirt, and jeans, quietly came out from the east gate. "I saw your fans. I didn't know you were a big star." "Of course, didn't you know that before?" Taylor raised her chin smugly, a hint of playfulness on her delicate face. "I knew, but I didn't expect you to be so popular." Link smiled, twisted the throttle hard, and the little motorcycle roared onto the street. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The First Date. The seafood restaurant Taylor mentioned wasn't close to the stadium, it was more than 3 kilometers away, located diagonally opposite the West Palm Beach Hilton Hotel. It was a lobster restaurant called Joyce Brothers, with luxurious and upscale decor. This restaurant specializes in lobster and stone crab, using ingredients sourced from the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico just outside its door. At the Palm Beach Seafood Market, lobsters cost just over $10 per pound. At this restaurant, a serving of stone crab lobster soup costs $180, a serving of baked lobster with cheese costs $125, and a serving of raw jasmine marinated oysters costs $35. However, the taste is indeed very good. It retains the fresh taste of the raw materials and perfectly blends the aroma of the ingredients, making the taste richer and more layered. Listening to the violin music in the restaurant while enjoying a glass of Fiano white wine, even spending a few $100s more feels like a great deal. Link had been boxing all day and his stomach was empty. Once the lobster was served, he started to gorge himself, stuffing food into his mouth non-stop. Meanwhile, Taylor, sitting across from him, ate and talked, showing less interest in the food on the table than Link. "Link, among female singers, whose songs do you like the most?" Taylor asked, resting her chin on her hand. Link stopped eating, thought for a moment, and said, "Whitney Houston, Shania Twain, Alison Krauss, oh, and yours, all of your songs are good." "Humph, are you adding me out of politeness?" "I can tell." Taylor pouted slightly, not entirely satisfied with his answer. Link shook his head and chuckled, "No, I said it according to the order of their debut. Your songs are great, and I believe you will be just as good as them in the future." "Thanks." Taylor smiled happily. "How's your boxing training going?" "It's going well. I'm undergoing intensive training. I plan to compete in amateur matches in a while and then go professional next year. My coach says my technique is pretty good and I have a chance to compete for the gold belt." "That's amazing. I'll come cheer you on when you compete in the future." Taylor laughed, shaking his fist. Link clenched his fist and bumped it with hers. After dinner, Link rode his motorcycle with Taylor on the back, leisurely cruising around the streets, stopping to admire the scenery whenever he encountered something pleasing to the eye. The two walked hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, giving him the illusion that they were dating, but unfortunately Taylor showed no intention of going to a hotel, so he didn't feel comfortable bringing it up himself. Taylor's phone rang for the fourth time around 8 p.m. It was Mrs. Andrea calling, telling Taylor that Miami was not safe at night and that she had to go back early. Her voice was somewhat serious. Link could only take Taylor to the Hyatt Place Hotel on his motorcycle. As soon as they arrived at the hotel entrance, Mrs. Andrea hurriedly came out of the lobby, nodded to Link, and then pulled Taylor into the hotel. Link waved to Taylor and rode away on his scooter. "Mom, Link is my friend. You shouldn't treat him like that." Taylor threw down his hat and said angrily. "Taylor, I know that's wrong. I'm just worried about you. You've only known Link for a few days and don't know him well. I don't recommend that you get too close to him." Mrs. Andrea picked up her hat and followed them into the elevator. "Mom, are you interfering in my private life? I'm 19 years old, I'm an adult." Taylor pursed her lips and said stubbornly. Mrs. Andrea shook her head and smiled, "Taylor, I never intended to interfere in your private life. I was just offering some advice from an adult perspective. You are a singer, an idol star. You're only in Miami for a music festival and will be leaving in a few days. Link is an ordinary person who has lived by the sea his whole life. If you like him, you should stay away from him and not get too close to him or give him unrealistic fantasies. If you don't like him, and you just want to chat with him and find creative inspiration from him, then just pretend I didn't say anything." As the elevator slowly ascended, Taylor thought about it carefully and realized that she still really liked Link. First of all, he was handsome and cool, with a muscular and strong body, like a mysterious agent in a Hollywood movie. Dating him would probably be very interesting. Mrs. Andrea glanced at her, patted her back softly, and said, "Taylor, there's one thing you need to understand. We live in Nashville and will be going back after the music festival. It's not appropriate for you to be dating him. My advice is to keep your distance and be just friends. If you want to find a boyfriend, you can look in the music industry, you'll have more in common." "Mom, I understand. I know what to do." Taylor waved and went into the room. Mrs. Andrea watched her daughter's retreating figure and shook her head. She didn't think Taylor and that diver would end up together well. Although Taylor spoke earnestly and seemed to care about Link, Taylor was a smart girl and would soon realize that she needed to focus more on music, since music was her life, not Link's. Back at Baker's dive shop, light shone through the glass windows. "Why are you only getting back now? Did you go on a date?" James asked, holding up his wet hands. Link glanced at the several freshly washed diving suits and chuckled, "Looks like business is pretty good today. It could have been even better. 2 guests needed divers, but you weren't there." James gave him a resentful look, then suddenly sniffed, put down the showerhead, and lunged at him. "What is this that smells so good?" Link placed the restaurant packaging box on the counter. He had originally packed his own breakfast for tomorrow, but with a gluttonous fat guy here, he would have to rethink his meals for tomorrow. "The packaging from Joyce's restaurant? You went to West Palm Beach? I heard that restaurant is very expensive, how could you bear to eat something like this?" As James spoke, he deftly opened the box with both hands, picked up the lobster while it was still hot, and ate it in big bites, praising how delicious it was. In the end, he ate it all, soup and all. Link shook his head. This guy is getting fatter and fatter, and the fatter he gets, the more he eats. Sooner or later he'll turn into a sphere. After finishing his meal, James sat on the sofa, patting his chubby belly, and said contentedly, "I should have known better than to eat the discounted hot dog from Daniel's this afternoon." "Who did you eat with this afternoon, Taylor? How much did it cost?" "More than 800. Link said, rinsing the salt stains off his wetsuit with a spray nozzle. "Over 800? Are you crazy? Don't you want to live a normal life?" James tried to sit up, but he was too full, so he braced himself against the sides of the sofa and got up like a pregnant woman. "Is 800 a lot? Do you know how much Roy Jones Jr. earns for a boxing match? At least 2 million, he won't fight for less than 2 million, Mayweather earns even more. I'll earn much more in the future, there's no need to worry about this little bit of money," Link said confidently. Whispering sound. James rolled his eyes, washed his hands under the shower head, and said, "I could say that too. Do you know how much Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks are paid? At least 15 million. In the future, my salary will be even higher than theirs. But we all know it's just a joke, Link. You can't think you can beat a professional boxer just because you beat a few lousy boxers in a bar. That's impossible. We need to face reality." James dried his hands with a towel. "Like you and Taylor, she's a celebrity, you're an ordinary person, there's a huge difference in lifestyle. Eating with her costs $800 a meal, and after a few more meals you'll be homeless on the streets. Link, listen to me, let's focus on opening the shop and making money slowly. Don't do anything else, none of that matters." James paused, then leaned his chubby face closer to look at him. "Are you listening to me? You can go now." Link pointed the shower head at his face, and James, his face soaked, gave him a resentful look, wiped his face with a towel, picked up his car keys and trash bag, and left. After cleaning several sets of diving equipment, Link took them to dry and disinfect them, and then took a hot bath. "I went to bed around 9 p.m. Taylor sent me 2 messages. The first one said that he had to rehearse all day tomorrow and couldn't come over to teach me how to practice guitar. The second one said good night." Link replied with 2 messages, saying he would buy a guitar tomorrow and also wished Taylor good night. The next day, Link continued to get up early to run with weights and practice boxing. His days were simple, peaceful, and tranquil. "I'm looking forward to reading and recommending my new book, and I'll also appreciate your monthly votes." End of this chapter. Chapter 11 Golden Gloves Tournament. Bang! Bang! On the boxing ring, Link and Mario continued their training. With Mario's help, he constantly changed his attack methods, jabs, straight punches, left hooks, uppercuts, and downward punches. He used to be short and his best skill was the jab. The jab attack is fast and unexpected. It is not as fast as the straight punch or the hook, but by quickly hitting the effective parts of the opponent's body, he can win by points. Now that he has increased in height and weight, as well as strength, and his arms are much longer than before, his offensive methods need to be adjusted. While ensuring that his jabs remain sharp, he is also consciously strengthening his training in straight punches, hooks, uppercuts, and throwing punches. In combination punches, you should also use more straight punches and hooks that deal more damage, so that you can win with one punch at the crucial moment. After practicing for more than an hour, both of them were covered in sweat. Miami's weather is quite humid, so you need to keep the indoor air well ventilated to feel cool. The boxing gym had excellent ventilation, but the amount of exercise was too much. My clothes got wet and then dried, then got wet again, and a layer of sweat residue formed on my t-shirt. After a short rest, he began to practice with Mario. Mario is the main attacker, while he is the main defender. For a boxer, offense and defense are equally important. A boxer who excels in both offense and defense will survive longer in the professional boxing world. In the last 30 years, the best boxer on the offensive end has undoubtedly been Tyson. Tyson was extremely aggressive, always moving forward and never retreating. His boxing moves were clean, sharp, and fierce, making them highly entertaining to watch. He is considered one of the most aggressive boxers in the history of professional boxing. Tyson's old rival, Evander Holyfield, did a good job on the defensive end. Although Holyfield was a power boxer, his defensive skills were also extremely superb. In the 2 WBA title defense matches in 1996 and 1997, Holyfield used a strong defensive counter-attacking tactic to defeat Tyson twice in a row, forcing Tyson to bite his ear. Link is a power boxer, but he's unsure if he can handle professional boxers with just his strength after turning professional. For safety's sake, he plans to excel in both offense and defense, transforming himself into a well-rounded, all-around fighter with no weaknesses. Hey! Link, Mario, stop practicing for now, Coach West brought back something cool. During their training session, Reggie, a fellow boxer from the same gym, excitedly ran over and shouted. What is that? Link and Mario stopped fighting and jumped off the boxing ring. The three of them arrived at the training area, where West, Manager Robinson, and the apprentices were all gathered, watching a rectangular machine that was over 2 meters tall. Wow! It's a punching power testing machine. Mario roared exaggeratedly, pushed through the crowd, excitedly rushed to the test machine, touched it all over, and then looked back at Coach West with a strange expression. West, I've been telling you to buy one for ages, dozens of times, but you never did. Why did you buy one now? Wait, is it because of Link? Mario plopped down on the ground and said in a resentful tone, West, I've advised you dozens of times not to buy it. The day after Link arrived, you moved the machine to the boxing gym. Your differential treatment is too obvious. This is discrimination, blatant discrimination, do you understand? West glared at him with a dark expression and said, I bought it a while ago, but it was only delivered today. Do you think I believe that? Why not deliver it earlier or later? Why deliver it to our door as soon as Link arrives? Does the machine manufacturer know that a genius has come to our boxing gym and urgently needs this machine for training? Mario grumbled irritably. Manager Robinson chuckled and said, Mario, it's true. The punching power testing machine is manufactured in Nevada. If it had been purchased yesterday, it definitely wouldn't have been delivered today. That seems to be the case. Mario and the others accepted the explanation and felt much better. West and Robinson exchanged a glance and smiled knowingly. They bought the machine a while ago, but the boxing gym was struggling, so they were too lazy to put it out for Mario and his friends to fight all they wanted. But things are different now that Link is here. Link is a boxer with great potential, and they don't mind investing more in him as long as it helps him in training. Make way, let me test how heavy my punch is. Mario pushed aside a few apprentices who were watching the spectacle, clenched his fist the size of a sandbag, roared, and slammed it hard onto the test target of the testing machine. Bang! The test target was retracted, and the numbers on the screen began to jump, rapidly scrolling from 100 pounds to 700 pounds, and finally settling on the integer value of 780 pounds. 780 pounds. Link, you should measure it too. Mario greeted him. Link waved his hand, letting Reggie and the other three test first, as he wanted to see how accurate the testing machine was. Reggie and 3 other boxers lined up to test their strength. Except for Reggie, who punched 620 pounds, the other 3 punched over 500 pounds. Link, it's your turn. Hurry up and hit. Mario urged. Link put down his laptop, stood in front of the testing machine, clenched his right fist, and punched the punching bag hard. The numbers on the screen were rapidly changing, and everyone stared intently at the screen. When the data broke through 1,000 pounds, everyone exclaimed in surprise. In the end, Link's punching weight stabilized at 1,430 pounds. Wow, 1,430 pounds. I heard that Tyson could only reach 1,800 pounds at his peak, and Holyfield was 1,600 pounds. Link is almost catching up with them. Mario exclaimed. No, Link is a middleweight, while Tyson and the others are heavyweights. A middleweight's punching power is almost catching up with the heavyweight champions, that's amazing. Reggie looked at Link with a face full of admiration. The other boxers and apprentices looked at Link with adoration, as if a boxing champion were right beside them. Link smiled slightly. The punching power testing machine can only estimate the value of a boxer's punch at the moment of throwing it. It is an estimate, not the actual 1,400 pounds. Furthermore, in boxing matches, the opponent is a living person who can move, dodge, and parry, unlike a punching bag that waits for attacks. To land a punch with 1,400 pounds requires a certain level of skill. Most knockouts, KOs, in the boxing ring are caused by failing to defend against an opponent's heavy punch and being struck directly in the head, resulting in unconsciousness. This is why the boxing world values the knockout probability. The more times a boxer knocks out his opponents, the greater his strength and the better his technique. Although the data measured by this machine is not very accurate, it is still a good measuring tool. His strength gradually increased during training. With this machine, he could more accurately understand his own growth and develop corresponding training plans. West, I'm going to do several more tests to see what the average is. Link said. Good. West picked up his notebook and began taking test notes. On the punching weight tester, Link threw 10 punches in 3 minutes. His best right punch was 1,480 pounds on the third throw, and his worst was 1,130 pounds on the ninth throw. His average was 1,350 pounds. The best left-hand result is 1,310 pounds, the worst is 880 pounds, and the average is 1,020 pounds, which is significantly different from the right-hand result. In other words, in the boxing ring, he could throw 10 punches in a row, maintaining a right punch weight of over 1,100 pounds and a left punch weight of over 1,000 pounds. If one of these 10 punches lands on the opponent's head, the opponent will be knocked out. Given Link's speed and skill, the probability of him missing all 10 punches is extremely small, and his chances of knocking out his opponents in future matches will be very high. Link took the notebook, looked at it, and noted down a few key data points. He would measure the data once a month to see how much progress he had made. Link, I want to take the test too, can you write it down for me? Mario shouted. Let's begin. Mario took a deep breath, roared, and then, bang bang bang. He also hit the test machine 10 times in a row. The attack was earth-shattering, but the measured data was not ideal. His best result was 810 pounds, his worst result was 420 pounds, and his average was less than 600 pounds. These figures are not bad for amateur competitions, but his appearance fee for professional competitions would never exceed 1,000 pounds. Why is there such a big difference? Mario looked at Link with envy, as the average number of Marios was less than half that of Link, meaning that 2 of Marios combined equaled Link. I was born strong, you don't need to be too envious. Link laughed. Mario was even more envious. Born meant that you couldn't train yourself to be smart, just like a person telling a monkey that they were born smart. Link was such a jerk, he really knew how to hurt people. Don't be envious. Just train more and you'll catch up with Link someday. Coach West said to the group, you guys continue with the tests, and remember to turn them off when you're done. Link, let's go to the office to talk. Good. Link nodded and followed Coach West to the office. Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of West's office, you can see the Miami Zoo and Botanical Garden across the street. The environment is quite nice. Link, take a look at this. Coach West handed me a document. This is the application form for the American Golden Glove Championship. The Golden Gloves Championship is the highest level of amateur boxing in the United States, and together with the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships and the U.S. Olympic Boxing Trials, it is known as one of the 3 major amateur boxing events. The Golden Gloves Championship is more important than the latter 2 in some ways. Famous boxing champions, including Ali, Tyson, Joe Louis, and George Foreman, all achieved outstanding results in the Golden Gloves Championship before turning to professional boxing. The Golden Gloves Championship is also considered an essential stepping stone for young American boxers to become professional boxers. This is a great platform. Link, the Golden Glove Championship starts in early June, there are still 10 days left. If you want to become famous as soon as possible, this is a good opportunity. West said. Link nodded, took out a pen, and began filling out the registration materials. Participants in the Golden Gloves Championship must be U.S. citizens, aged 18 to 39, and non-professional boxers. The competition has 4 levels. In the first level, all registered participants compete in their respective cities, with the top 3 from each city advancing to the state championship. The state championship is the second level. The third level is the regional competition. The top 4 teams from the Eastern, Southeastern, Northwestern, and Central regions qualify for the U.S. Gold Glove Championship. The first 3 levels are knockout rounds. The fourth level is the final, where boxers from the 4 divisions compete to determine the top 3, with the champion receiving the Gold Glove trophy. The competition will be held between June 3 and June 12. The finals were held at the American Airlines Arena in Miami. Link doesn't need to leave Miami to participate in the competition. This is good news. End of this chapter. Chapter 12. The competition begins. After confirming his participation in the Golden Gloves Championship, Link devoted more time to training. The Golden Gloves Championship is a great promotional platform. During the competition, major boxing promotion companies will also focus their attention on the matches, selecting promising newcomers for training, similar to a talent show or beauty pageant. Link not only wants to achieve good results in the competition, but also wants to demonstrate his great potential so that several major promotion companies will be waving checks to him for cooperation. The better he performs, the higher his signing bonus will be. He wants to give it his all. During the training period, the Miami International Beach Music Festival was held at Hard Rock Stadium. Over the course of 5 days, country music singers from the United States, Canada, and Europe performed at the festival. According to the Miami Herald, this year's Beach Music Festival had 214 registered artists and attracted 1.241 million visitors, creating a very lively atmosphere. After training each day, Link would go to several venues to listen to singers perform live and watch them play guitar. Sometimes Taylor would join him, but she was too busy with her performances, and Mrs. Andrea intentionally or unintentionally kept the two apart, so they rarely met during the music festival. A few days ago, when they were walking together, he thought they were dating. After not seeing each other for a few days, it seems that they have returned to being just ordinary friends. Upon hearing this, James laughed 3 times, saying he had expected it all along. The two were simply not on the same wavelength. Link couldn't dwell on his frustration. The Golden Gloves Championship was about to begin, and to gain a foothold in the talent-rich American boxing world, he had to demonstrate impressive strength. Bang bang bang. Link clenched his fists and punched the rubber punching pads with all his might. He only wore hand bandages on his hands. After practicing for 2 hours, his t-shirt was soaked with sweat and clung to his strong back, showing off his defined muscles. After training at the boxing gym for more than 10 days, his muscles became more solid and strong. His pectoral muscles, scapular muscles, biceps, and abdominal muscles all bulged out with clear lines, as if they were cast in iron. Mario often advised him to eat more meat, keep more fat, and make his waist thicker. He said that boxers are not bodybuilders, and having a great physique is useless. A boxer's opponent is a man, not a woman. Link naturally wouldn't listen to him. In this internet age, a handsome, strong, and sexy boxer can definitely attract more attention in traffic, and earn more tickets, viewership, and prize money. Therefore, for boxers, a handsome appearance and a strong physique are also a kind of soft power. Link, let's take a break. We'll be exhausted if we keep going. Mario sat on the ground, panting heavily, sweat pouring down his face. Yeah, Link, the match is about to start, don't push yourself too hard, be careful not to get injured. Reggie was also wiping away sweat, his arms trembling as he braced himself on the ground. You guys take a break, then practice a little longer. Link continued punching. Link, you can't do this. You're so good, and you're still training so hard. How can we rest? If West sees us, he'll yell at us for being lazy again. Mario said with a bitter face. Reggie nodded frantically. Before Link came, everyone felt that training for 3 or 4 hours a day was enough. After each training session, they would go to bars to pick up girls or go to the beach to play in the water. They lived a fulfilling and satisfying life every day. The atmosphere inside the museum was also very harmonious. After Link joined the boxing gym, the atmosphere there completely changed. Link trains for more than 6 hours a day, which is more than double the amount of training everyone else does. When you see Link, who has a punch weight of 1,400 pounds, still training so hard, who can rest easy? Now everyone trains with Link every day. He trains for 6 hours, and everyone trains for 6 hours. If you train for even 1 hour less, you feel anxious and like you're falling behind. But training for 6 hours a day is too intense. After training, I would come home with a sore back, leg cramps, and I didn't want to do anything except sleep. I didn't even have the energy to pick up girls. Life is too hard. Mario gritted his teeth and persevered for a week, feeling like he was living a life worse than death. But he couldn't stop. Link, a boxing champion, is training hard, while I, who am so much worse than him, am lying on the ground resting. How is that any different from giving up on myself? Mario is now facing a dilemma: persist. He can't keep going, his body can't take it; give up. He's unwilling to give up, his soul is restless. Torn between his body and his soul, he didn't know what to do. He could only try to find a way to resolve the problem with the person who caused it, namely Link. Hey Link, do you want to pick up girls? I can introduce you to a few hot girls, I guarantee they'll be gorgeous. Mario grinned mischievously, showing his white teeth. Reggie the blonde nodded in agreement. Link, it's true. Don't let Mario's scary appearance fool you, he's a real player. He has tons of hot girls' contact information on his phone. What kind of girl do you like? White, black, red, you name it, he can find it. What do you mean I look scary? We Mexicans all look like this. Mario, with his big nose twitching and a fierce expression, said displeased. Cough. West walked over and glared at the two of them. If you two don't want to train, you can go outside, go shopping or go to a bar, but don't disturb Link's training here. Mario and Reggie exchanged a glance, pursed their lips, and continued to throw punches despite the soreness. It wasn't that they didn't want to go shopping, but considering that Link was still training, shopping wouldn't be interesting. Link, the competition is tomorrow. Skip 2 hours of training today and make sure you get plenty of rest. West said in a gentle voice. He was very satisfied with Link. Link was not only talented, smart, and down-to-earth, but also very hard-working. After he arrived, the boxers and apprentices in the gym did not need supervision and trained on their own. These days were the most relaxed period he had ever experienced in his career. Okay, I'll be careful. Link nodded. After West left, Link continued training. Hey Link, you just said you wanted to rest, why are you still training? Mario clenched his fist and said angrily. I'm not tired, why should I rest? Link looked at him strangely. Compared to pushing carts in the mines and risking his life in underground casinos, the training now was incredibly easy. He felt his strength and speed quietly increasing every day during training, and the feeling was so fulfilling that he couldn't stop. Bang! Bang! Link continued training. Mario was absolutely furious. Is this guy even human? Mario, stop talking. Just train like crazy, as long as you don't die. Reggie roared, clenched his fist, and unleashed a furious barrage of punches at the sandbag. Mario sighed softly, and could only endure the soreness as he continued to pound the stiff punching bag with his fists. When will this ever end? On June 3rd, the Golden Gloves Championship regional competition opened. This year, a total of 112 boxers registered to participate in Miami. Link weighs 77.5 kilograms and registered for the super middleweight competition. There are 15 people in the super middleweight division, which is not very difficult. The game was held in a small court at the Heat's American Airlines Arena. There were no other spectators except for the referees. The game was very simple, a 2-on-2 match, with the 15th pick automatically advancing to the next round. Link was lucky, he drew number 15 in the first round and automatically advanced. In the second round, I drew number 1 and fought my opponent for 1 round. I knocked my opponent down 3 times in a row. In amateur matches, both of us wear protective gear, so the damage from being knocked down is not significant. However, according to the rules of amateur competitions, being knocked down 3 times in a row indicates a significant difference in skill between the two players, and the referee will interrupt the match and declare the player who fell to the ground the loser. Link easily advanced to the third round. In the third round, 4 people remained and fought 1-on-1. Link knocked down his opponent 3 times in 1 round and advanced to the next round. In the fourth round, he continued to work hard, knocking down his opponent 3 times in 1 round, easily securing his place in the state championship. However, his performance in the match was too terrifying, killing the match in 1 round in every game. Someone took a picture of him and posted it in a boxing fan chat group, warning everyone to be careful of him, saying that he was a cold-blooded and terrifying heavy hitter with incredibly powerful punches, and that no one could last a round against him. This message was supported by several victims, who discussed it heatedly in a group chat. What should they do if they encounter him again? The conclusion of the discussion was that there was no way to deal with him. Not only were his punches heavy, but he was also very fast and his defense was excellent, making him virtually unbeatable. The super middleweights were in despair, lamenting how unfortunate it was to have such a formidable opponent. Link's amateur fighting record: 3 wins, 3 knockouts. End of this chapter. Chapter 13 State Championship. Link, isn't this too high profile? If your opponents notice you, they will study your playing style, and your next match will become much more difficult. In the office on the 3rd floor of the boxing gym, West looked through the match records and said with some concern. Link won all 3 of his matches by knockout, demonstrating an outstanding performance. After the regional competition, many people in the Miami boxing community paid attention to him. This attention might be well-intentioned, but it was certainly not without malice. In order to protect Link, West decided to talk to him. It's okay. Fame comes at a price. I'm not afraid of being targeted. Link shook his head. He did this to attract attention. In today's internet age, with advanced information and communication technologies, the public can collect information from various platforms for free via the internet, which makes it easy for their attention to be distracted. During the eras of Ali and Tyson, they gained immense popularity among the public and became highly popular boxing champions simply through newspapers and television news. Their matches are also highly sought after by boxing fans, earning them a huge share of ticket revenue and PPV, pay-per-view, revenue. Each match generates tens or hundreds of millions of US dollars in revenue, with $10 million US dollars in the 1960s and 70s being comparable to $40 or $50 million US dollars in 2008. Now, if he wants to become a popular boxing champion like Ali, Tyson, or Holyfield and earn more dollars, he must become famous and find ways to gain more attention and discussion. One of the methods he came up with was to defeat his opponent as quickly as possible during the match and demonstrate his formidable strength. West, if any media outlets interview me, keep it a secret for now. Let's keep it a secret for the media and the public. We can get more attention and generate more buzz by revealing it during the finals, Link said after thinking for a moment. West nodded. Having been in the boxing world for 3 or 4 decades, he knew a lot about it and could understand Link's actions and purpose. Link is right without a doubt. This also reminded him of when he first debuted. His agent asked reporters to interview him and write press releases, but he was reluctant. He believed that boxers were not actors or singers, and that boxers should let their fists do the talking, not those useless empty titles. I was so young and naive back then. In the world of boxing, fame isn't just useful, it plays a crucial role. Assuming 2 boxers are equally skilled but have different levels of fame, the more famous boxer receives a prize of $10 million per fight, while the less famous boxer receives $10,000 per fight. Driven by the prize money, they unleash a completely different level of skill in the boxing ring, with the more famous ones performing even better than usual. Back then, as a challenger, he faced WBO middleweight champion Sugar Ray Leonard. When the fight started, tens of thousands of people in the stands cheered Sugar's name and encouraged him. Sugar easily gained home court advantage, while he fought under pressure and ultimately underperformed, losing to Sugar. In his old age, West often thinks back to the past, to the games at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, wondering if he could have won if tens of thousands of people had been cheering him on back then. He felt he had a good chance, at least he wouldn't be knocked out by Sugar in the 3rd round. So seeing that Link knew how to use the media, create public opinion, and promote himself to attract public attention from the very beginning of his career makes him very gratified. Link, just focus on the game. I'll leave the media matters to Robinson. He used to be my assistant and executive agent, and he's always dealt with the media. These things won't be difficult for him. Good. The Golden Gloves championship schedule was very tight. After the regional tournament ended, just 1 day later, Link, West, Mario, Reggie and others took the Silver Star train to Orlando to participate in the Golden Glove State Championship qualifiers. Orlando, located in Central Florida, more than 230 miles from Miami, is a scenic tourist city. Some of the more famous tourist attractions in the city include Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, and Islands of Adventure. This is also one of the filming locations for Harry Potter. Adventure Island features the magical world of Harry Potter, including Hogwarts Castle, Hogsmeade Village, the magical train and other tourist attractions, making it suitable for family trips. Orlando is most famous for the Orlando Magic, one of the NBA's professional basketball teams. The Orlando Magic's performance this year has been mediocre. Despite having Superman, Dwight Howard, Turkish power forward Hedo Turkoglu, and one of their twin stars, Rashard Lewis, they still lost to the Detroit Pistons in the divisional competition, packing up and going home early, leaving the arena to the Boxers to compete. The Golden Glove Championship Florida qualifiers were held at Amway Arena, the Orlando Magic's home arena. This stadium can accommodate 17,000 spectators, and this game will be open to the public. People can enter by purchasing tickets, and tickets for out-of-town visitors are $15 each, which is not expensive. Hey, you guys know what? I was a member of the school basketball team in junior high. I was pretty good at basketball. In the locker room at Amway Arena, Mario looked at the Orlando Magic's logo on the wall and said, "Why not continue playing basketball? You're tall enough to play guard." Do you think I didn't want to? I stopped growing at 6.15 feet when I was 18, and I got fatter and fatter. Then I met West, and he said I was good at boxing, so I came to practice boxing, Mario said, rubbing his belly. Link was also a little surprised to see him. This guy trained every day and didn't lose weight. He used to weigh 208 pounds and now he weighs 210 pounds. The meat on his body is not pure fat, but a mixture of fat and lean. It is much more solid than James's meat and can withstand a lot of beatings. I originally wanted to play baseball, Reggie said, scratching his blonde hair. Then I watched Tyson's matches and thought boxing was cooler, so I started practicing boxing. Link, what about you? Mario asked. Link thought about it and realized that he was originally a miner, so becoming a boxer was not a better option. Although being a boxer is tough and tiring, involving punching sandbags every day or being a sparring partner, it is clearly more hopeful than working in a dark and dreary mine. When I was in the mine, I was always on edge going down into the shaft every day. When I went down into the pit hundreds of meters deep and looked at the mine above me, I couldn't help but worry that I would be crushed to death by a rock that suddenly fell down, or that I would be buried deep in the mine in a mining accident and that my body would not be found and my family would not receive any compensation. Those days were truly dark and hopeless. For him, boxing was more like a ray of light shining into his dark life, a lifeline, so he never gave it up until his death. Link? I am a diver, and I have a diving license. Link laughed. Cool. I'm going diving with you after the game. When the group entered the Amway Arena, the state championship had already been underway for half a day. The venue was divided into two competition areas. The left ring was for matches in the weight class of 70 kilograms and above, and the right ring was for matches in the weight class of 70 kilograms and below. More than 2,000 spectators attended the event, and the atmosphere was quite lively. Currently, the boxing match on the left ring is a heavyweight, over 91 kilograms, boxing match. Two burly athletes wearing boxing gloves are fighting back and forth in the ring. They are also wearing protective gear, so the visual effect is not great, and the audience's reaction is also indifferent. Mario is also a boxer in this weight class. West originally wanted him to lose weight and fight in the cruiserweight division, where there aren't many strong opponents. However, he simply couldn't lose weight and could only compete in the heavyweight division. After the match on stage ended, Mario underwent an examination, put on his boxing gloves, and stepped into the ring. His opponent was also a Latino man from Panama City in the Northwest. He was 196 centimeters tall, muscular, and had relatively long arms. After the match began and the two sides probed each other several times, Mario's opponent launched the first attack, using his long arm advantage to hit Mario in the face, chest and abdomen. Mario was at a disadvantage in the first round, but he defended well and didn't let his opponent disrupt his rhythm. In the second round, Mario launched a counterattack, punching his opponent in the chin and cornering him. Mario, you made your move too early. After the second round, West pulled Mario aside in the dugout and said, your strength is defense. You should defend first and try to drag the match into the third round or later, wear down your opponent's strength first, and then take the initiative to attack. I understand, I know how to play, West, don't worry, I'll definitely win this game. Mario said excitedly. Bang! In the third round, Mario continued his attack, landing a right hook that knocked his opponent down in the face, causing quite a stir among the crowd. The matches today were not particularly exciting, whenever a knockout occurred on stage, the audience would applaud. In the fourth round, Mario knocked down his opponent again. His opponent managed to get up and held on for one round, but was knocked down again in the sixth round. The referee then declared Mario the winner. Roar! After Mario knocked out his opponent, he stood on the corner post, excitedly raised his fist, and shouted towards the audience, who responded with enthusiastic applause. Link clapped his hands as well. "West, look, I won!" Mario shouted excitedly after stepping down from the stage. "You launched your attack too early. If you had attacked later, you would have won more easily and saved your energy for the later matches," West commented. Mario laughed and patted his belly, saying, "West, I understand what you mean, but there's absolutely no need to do that. The opponent I was dealing with looked really strong, with long arms, so I thought he was pretty tough. But after he threw a few punches at me, I realized his punches were incredibly light, like tickling me. I figured, since he's so weak, there's no need to keep wasting my time. So I started attacking and knocked him down with one punch. It felt amazing." Mario waved his fist and excitedly wiggled his butt, just like the teddy bear in the next seat. "Mario, it's because you've been training with Link lately that your ability to withstand blows has improved dramatically, which is why you feel that your opponent's punches aren't heavy," Reggie laughed. Mario chuckled, "That's right, compared to Link, that guy's punches aren't that great, but Link, you're beating me up every day, don't expect me to be grateful." "No need, but you should be careful, there are many strong heavyweight boxers." "It's okay, there aren't many strong players in the Florida region, I'm confident I can secure a spot in the next round," Mario said with overflowing confidence. West shook his head, pulled Mario aside and continued to explain the tactics, telling him to follow the tactics in the next game and not to play haphazardly. Mario kept nodding, but his eyes had already drifted to the female volunteer's buttocks next to him. End of this chapter. Chapter 14 State Championship Part 2. After the heavyweight bout ended, the first rounds of the cruiserweight, over 90 kilograms, and light heavyweight, over 79.45 kilograms, bouts continued. It wasn't until after 2 p.m. that the super middleweight, over 76.27 kilograms, bouts began. Link weighed in at 77.4 kilograms before the fight, which is in the super middleweight division. In the first round, his opponent was a black boxer from the Western Everglades city. He was much darker than Mario, with shiny skin, a lean physique, and an agile fighter. At the start of the first round, the opponent launched an attack on Link. Link deliberately moved into the opponent's attack range, exposing his head as an opening to attract the opponent's attack. As expected, his opponent fell for the trap and delivered a vicious straight punch to his head. "You've been tricked," Mario shouted. With lightning-fast reflexes, Link dodged his opponent's punch by tilting his head. To the surprise of his opponent, Link's fist unexpectedly landed on the black man's left cheek and slammed down. Bang! A vicious hook punch sent his opponent staggering and crashing to the ground. "Wow! Oh, my God!" A gasp of surprise rippled through the crowd. Because Link is handsome and has a strong, sexy physique, when he went on stage, the female audience members all turned their attention to him. When they saw him knock down his opponent with one punch, the audience gasped loudly, and the cheers were louder than in any other event. "It's that trick again, it's that trick again, it's so insidious." Mario covered his face, recalling the first time he was stunned by the attack. Even though half a month had passed, he still felt a little dizzy thinking about it. "This move is too ruthless. I dare say no one can break it. I wish I could learn it," Reggie said excitedly. West shook his head, stroking his white stubble, and said, "It's very difficult. This move requires extremely high speed, strength, and reaction time. Most people can't learn it." "I don't believe it. When I get back, I'll find Link and learn it. Next time we play a match, I'll use this trick to trick my opponent," Mario said firmly. In the boxing ring, thanks to the protection of the foam headgear, the opponent was not knocked unconscious after being knocked down and quickly got up to continue the fight. After suffering a loss once, the black boxer became smarter and kept dodging in the next 2 rounds, not engaging him at all. Whenever he stepped forward, the black boxer would retreat or clinch, not giving him a chance to unleash a heavy punch. Link was also a little helpless. Compared with the boxers in the bar and his 3 opponents in the regional competition, the state championship participants were obviously stronger, and their speed and defense were very good. He throws 10 punches, but his opponent dodges more than 7 of them. With the opponents becoming stronger, the competition has become more difficult. To win the game quickly, you must demonstrate even more refined skills. Link, take it slow. Don't try to knock out your opponent. Just win. After the second round ended, in the rest area, West pulled him aside and gave him some instructions. I see. Link nodded, spitting out the water in his mouth. Maintaining proper thirst during the competition would allow him to perform better, like a hungry cheetah. At the start of the third round, Link slowed down his offensive pace, using stillness to control movement and remaining unchanged to respond to all changes. When his opponent saw that he had stopped pursuing, he assumed that his stamina was waning, so he changed his tactics and slowed down the pace of the game. Just 50 seconds into the third round, as his opponent retreated to the edge of the corner, Link suddenly attacked, landing a long-range throwing punch on his opponent's arm, breaking through his opponent's arm defense, followed by a right hook to the opponent's cheek, and then a straight punch to the opponent's forehead. Bang! This time the punch was more accurate, landing a blow to the opponent's face. The opponent stumbled back 2 steps, first hitting the ropes, then falling to the ground. Despite the sponge headgear protecting him, the punch was quite heavy and solid, and his opponent struggled twice but couldn't get up. The referee ruled that Link had won. In amateur matches, the foam headgear worn by both fighters can significantly reduce the weight of a boxer's punch. With the addition of boxing gloves, a punch weight of 100 pounds can be reduced to about 10 pounds. With a double reduction in power, a single punch rendered the opponent unable to get up, demonstrating terrifying punching force. This was the first time such an event had occurred in this tournament. After Link knocked out his opponent, the audience cheered loudly, applauding his 2 spectacular knockouts. Link clenched his fist and returned to the audience. Link, you're amazing. You managed to take down your opponent even with a mask on. Reggie immediately offered his flattery, while Mario next to him snorted and said, now you know how dangerous it is to be his sparring partner. I risk my life every time I train with him. It's not easy for me. But your boxing skills have also improved a lot, Reggie laughed. Of course, I risked my life for this. Mario patted his chest and said. Link didn't seem particularly pleased. He had already been dragged into the third round by his opponent in the first round of the state championship. In the national championship, his opponent would be stronger and would probably be even more difficult to deal with. He originally envisioned advancing to the Golden Gloves Championship finals with a perfect knockout record, using his formidable strength to win media attention. It seems extremely difficult now. Link clenched his fist, secretly blaming himself. He should have trained harder. If he had greater punching power, faster speed, and quicker reaction time, the match would have been much easier, and he wouldn't have had this worry. After the super middleweight bout, the middleweight, over 72 kilograms, bout continued. Reggie entered the bout wearing boxing gloves. His opponent was strong, and the two fought all 10 rounds. In the end, Reggie won by points, with a score of 96-88. This score is determined by the on-site judges. There are 6 judges at the tournament venue, 3 scoring judges, 2 arbitrators, and 1 ring judge. The competition is scored by computer. Amateur matches consist of 10 rounds, each lasting 2 minutes, which is 2 rounds less and 1 minute shorter than professional matches. Each round is scored out of 10 points. When 2 boxers demonstrate equal ability and strength, and neither shows a clear advantage, each boxer scores 10 points, resulting in a 10-10 tie. When both boxers suffer the same heavy blow in a round, and the other side has the advantage, the side with the advantage scores 1 point, making it 10-9. When one boxer wins the round with a clear advantage, the one with the advantage scores 2 points, making it 10-8. He knocked down his opponent once during the match, demonstrating overwhelming dominance, 10-7. The winner knocks down their opponent twice in this round, or has an overwhelming advantage and knocks down their opponent once, 10-6. If the 2 fighters go the full 10 rounds, at the end of the match, the 3 judges will add up the scores of the 10 rounds, and the fighter with the higher total score will win. In boxing, this is called winning by points. Winning by points can result in 3 different outcomes depending on the scores given by the 3 judges. The three judges unanimously ruled that the winning side should receive UD. One referee declared Boxer A the winner, while the other two judged Boxer B the winner. The result for Boxer B is recorded as SD. If one referee declares the score tied, the other two referees will declare one side the winner on points, and the winning side will record the MD, matchmaker's dividend. Reggie had a clear advantage in the match, and in the end, all three judges unanimously ruled that he had won on a cumulative basis, marking him as UD. After the middleweight bout, the heavyweight second round continued. In this round, Mario's opponent was a strong white man with excellent skills. The two fought for 10 rounds on the stage. Mario knocked down his opponent once, and his opponent also scored a few points over him. With the score at 91-94, one judge declared Mario the winner, while two judges ruled in favor of the white boxer. Mario lost the match by a narrow margin. Discrimination. Absolutely discrimination. If I were white, they would definitely rule in my favor. After stepping down, Mario said angrily. Shut up. West pulled him away from the boxing ring. Of the 5 referees in this match, 1 was white, 2 were black, and 2 were Latino. Even if there was an element of discrimination, there was nothing that could be done. In reality, the referees' calls were not problematic, it was Mario's playing style that was the problem. He adopted a defensive strategy in the first round and found that his opponent was not very strong. In the second round, he launched an attack first, but this time he encountered a skilled opponent who defended very well. In the second, third and fourth rounds, Mario only managed to knock down his opponent once and was unable to kill the match like he did in the first round. By the fifth round, Mario's attacks were ineffective, forcing him to adopt a defensive stance. He fought very weakly, and the white boxer gained a certain advantage in the match. If Mario hadn't knocked one down, the score difference would have been even greater. Therefore, the referee's decision to award the victory to the white boxer was based on some merit. If Mario had insisted on arbitration, the members of the Amateur Boxing Association would not have supported him. Snort. After West left the field, his face darkened, and he didn't want to look at him again. During the match, he had repeatedly asked Mario to change his tactics, but Mario ignored his advice, underestimated his opponent, and acted arrogantly, thinking that he had improved his strength by training with Link and could easily defeat his opponent. But obviously, his strength was not as high as he thought. Seeing West's dark expression, Mario calmed down, scratched his forehead, and said, "West, it's my fault. I didn't expect him to be so skilled. I think he has a chance to make it to the finals." "What does it matter to you whether he makes it to the finals or not? You've already been eliminated," West scoffed. "I know I was wrong, but what's the use? The game is over." Mario, realizing he wouldn't be able to participate in the next match, glared at his fist and growled. He sat down in his chair, looking sullen, and said to Link, who was listening to music, and Reggie, who was playing a mobile game, "I lost, and you guys aren't even going to comfort me." "Huh? You lost? So quickly? I didn't know." Reggie looked up and asked, feigning surprise. "Fuck Reggie. I'm playing a game while you're playing a game down there." Mario clutched his chest, feeling doubly hurt. "I'm sorry, I'll definitely watch the next game," Reggie said politely. "Fuck. I'm eliminated, I'm going home, there's no next round, you understand?" Mario yelled, grabbing his shoulder. "Losing isn't something to brag about, why are you shouting so loudly?" Link picked at his ear, leaned back in his seat and stretched. "Besides, you brought this on yourself. West gave you the tactics but you didn't listen. Whose fault is that? You should go to the lounge, find a notebook and write a 10,000-word self-criticism instead of yelling and shouting here." "Humph. You think you're so great just because you didn't lose? You'll lose eventually, and then I'll use those same words to laugh at you too," Mario said angrily, his face sour. "Dude, you won't get that chance." Link shook his index finger and got up to go backstage to prepare. End of this chapter. Chapter 15 State Championship Part 3. What were you doing today? Did you practice guitar? At night, at the Aloft Hotel in downtown Orlando, Link came out of the bathroom after taking a shower and received 2 messages on his phone from Taylor, asking him what he had done that day, saying that she had been recording music at a music studio in Manhattan's East Village, and that she had written a song for him. Upon seeing Taylor's message, Link was reluctant to reply. After the last music festival, Taylor had only met him briefly, left him a guitar, told him to continue practicing, and then flew away. The last time the two walked hand in hand down the street, Link thought they were dating and felt a little excited. After all, she was Taylor Swift. For a small minor to date a big star was definitely a dramatic turnaround, like a toad riding on the back of a silver dragon. But as the music festival approached, the two met less often, and their relationship cooled down. After Taylor left Miami, they still chatted occasionally, but not as casually as before. This hot and cold relationship made Link feel awkward. He was a boxer and preferred to be direct and get straight to the point when dating women. Romantic relationships are too sophisticated for him, he can't handle them, nor can he enjoy the passion they bring, and they would interfere with his training and competitions. Love is also one of the biggest taboos for boxers. This is one of the things Coach Lou told him to pay attention to. Old Lou said that when a boxer starts dating or gets married, his time and attention will be diverted to other things, and his strength will inevitably decline. Link kept this in mind. Upon seeing Taylor's message, Link thought for a moment and decided to briefly tell Taylor about today's events, focusing on only one thing, the competition. He played 3 matches at the Amway Arena today, winning his first match by knocking out his opponent in the 3rd round. The second fight went even better than the first. His opponent was a burly white boxer, a powerhouse, who started by exchanging heavy punches with Link, which was exactly what Link wanted. In the first round, Link threw 15 punches, landing 4 on his opponent and knocking him down 2 times. His opponent threw over 40 punches, hitting Link's target area 7 times, including one to the face that nearly knocked him down. In the second round, Link threw 10 punches and knocked down his opponent twice. His opponent threw 8 punches and hit his target areas 3 times. In the third round, the opponent adopted a defensive stance, attempting to use delaying tactics to slow down the progress of the match. Link, however, did not want to give his opponent any time to rest. 20 seconds after the start of the match, he broke through his opponent's defense with a combination of punches and then knocked his opponent to the ground with an uppercut. The opponent was unable to get up for 10 seconds after falling to the ground, and the referee declared him the winner. The third match was a bit more complicated. His opponent was of Mexican descent, very strong and resilient. It took him 5 rounds to knock down his opponent 6 times, making him bleed from the nose, before he finally won the match. After 3 matches, he successfully advanced to the finals of the state championship. "Can you make it to the tournament finals?" Taylor replied to the message with the question. "Of course. I'm 100% sure." "Okay, I'll go to the stadium to cheer you on when you play in the finals." "It's settled then." Link smiled and decided that he wouldn't let Taylor leave once she arrived. "Link, wanna go shopping?" Mario and Reggie burst into the room side by side and asked. "I'm not going." "Why aren't you changing your clothes and shoes?" "Running. I didn't have time to run this morning because of the bus ride, so I'm making up for it now." After saying that, Link, wearing running shoes, a hooded sweatshirt, and headphones, ran out of the room. Mario and Reggie stared blankly at his running figure. "After a full day of competition, you still have to go running at night? Is he human?" "He's definitely not human." "I'm so envious, Link's stamina is amazing." "Reggie, forget about him, let's go shopping." "I heard there are lots of hot girls at Universal Studios Orlando, hehe, I'm definitely going to pick one up tonight." "Mario, I've thought about it and decided not to go. I'm going for a run too." "You can go by yourself." Reggie scratched his blonde hair, went back inside to change into his workout clothes and running shoes, and then went downstairs for a run. Mario stood blankly at the doorway, staring at the empty corridor, and suddenly felt a chill in the air around him. Orlando is located in central Florida, more than 50 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. It has a greater variety and density of trees than Miami Beach, and the morning air is fresher and cooler than in Miami, without the fishy smell of the sea breeze, making it a great place for a morning run. There was a game in the morning, so Link only ran 5 kilometers before returning to the hotel for breakfast. When Mario saw him come back from his run, his face was dark and sour, as if he had eaten a mealworm. Link didn't bother to pay him any more attention, quickly finished his breakfast, and rushed to the Amway Arena for the game. After 2 rounds of elimination matches, only 4 boxers remain in each weight class. The next 2 rounds will eliminate 1 person, and the remaining 3 will compete to determine the champion, runner-up, and third-place winner, who will then qualify for the Southeast Regional competition. The number of audience members present today was also higher than yesterday, generally remaining above 4,000, with the front rows of seats almost full. Hey, look over there. What's that Link poster over there? Mario pointed to a spot in the front row of the audience where several young girls were holding up a Link poster. The poster shows Link wearing red boxing gloves, revealing his muscular physique and iron-like muscles. Paired with his handsome face and deep blue eyes, he looks even cooler than Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 3. That's so cool, Link should go to Hollywood. They're Link's fans. Link has fans now, Reggie said enviously. Impossible. It's only the second day, how could there be boxing fans here to cheer us on? Mario turned to Link. Did you hire them yourself? Otherwise, where would they get your picture for the posters? I'm not that bored, Link laughed. West shook his head. Yesterday's game was covered on local Orlando television stations and Fox News, and there was also news and pictures of the game on the official Orlando News website, including a photo of Link. Mario searched on his phone and found it. Hey Link, you're famous now, how does it feel? Mario asked with a look of envy and jealousy. It feels great to be liked by someone. Link smiled and put on his headphones to listen to music. Around 9 a.m., the third round of the competition officially began. Match point A started with the heavyweight matches. The white player who defeated Mario yesterday also entered the third round and defeated his opponent in the third round, successfully entering the top 3. This result made Mario feel much better. Link's fight was at around 11 a.m. When he stepped onto the stage, several boxing fans held up posters and shouted, "Link will win," which attracted the attention of many spectators. Link laughed and waved his fist at the few fans he had, which made their shouts even louder. The cameras at the scene also focused on him and his fans. Link believed that as long as he continued to win, he would receive more media attention and more support from fans. His opponent in the semifinals was a hairy Irishman, a technically skilled boxer who excelled in defense. To win a match quickly against a technically skilled boxer, you either need superior technique, sufficient strength, and high speed. If you lack all 3, the fight will be very difficult. Link is strong, fast, and technically skilled, making him relatively easy to deal with this type of boxer. Simply use heavy punches to break through the opponent's defense. In this round, he knocked out his opponent 3 times in just 1 minute and 48 seconds, successfully advancing to the final. His opponent in the final was a black boxer named John Stevens. John Stevens, 20, is the Florida super middleweight champion of last year's U19 National Boxing Championships. He is ranked 18th among amateur super middleweight boxers nationwide, with a record of 20 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in 23 amateur fights. He is also one of the top seeds for the Florida region in this year's Golden Gloves Championship. Based on the data, he is a very tough opponent, and it will be quite difficult to knock him out. Link, John Stevens is strong, has heavy punches, and is experienced in the fight. His overall strength is no worse than yours. When you fight him, don't deliberately pursue the knockout rate. Get enough points first, and winning the fight is the most important thing. Coach West put down his notebook and said, I understand. I'll be careful. Link thumped the protective gear on his head with his boxing gloves and strode onto the boxing ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 16 State Championship Champion. Link. Go for it. Link. You're the champion. As Link stepped into the boxing ring, his fans cheered loudly for him. Link clenched his fist and looked at his final opponent, John Stevens, who was walking towards him. Stevens was a little taller than Link, with dark, shiny muscles and hard bones. Link couldn't help but sigh, another tough battle is coming. Hey, I know you. Your name is Link Baker, right? On the boxing ring, John, a black boxer, casually swung his arms and spoke. Hello, I know you too. Link nodded politely. It's good that you know me. You fought very fiercely in the last match, but I'm even fiercer than you. Today I'm going to beat you and make them my boxing fans. John, a black man, pointed at several girls in the audience holding up Link posters and grinned, showing off his white teeth. Link shook his head and laughed. "Mr. Stevens, that's impossible. Even if you beat me, they will never become your boxing fans." "Hey, what are you saying? Are you implying that they're white girls and wouldn't like me, a black man?" John, a black man, said with dissatisfaction, as if he would report John for racial discrimination on the spot if John dared to admit it. "No, no, of course not. It has nothing to do with skin color. They like me not only because I fight fiercely, but also because I have a handsome face. I think it's not just them. When I become a boxing champion in the future, many hot black women will also fall in love with me and become my boxing fans. After all, I am really handsome, don't you think?" Link said with a smirk. "Pooh." John, the black man, spat towards the ring, thinking the guy was shameless. He grinned and said coldly, "Kid, don't get cocky. Today I'm going to beat you to a pulp and let your fans know that under my fists, you're just a crying coward. Let's see if they'll still like you then." Link shook his head and glanced at him disdainfully. That glance was more damaging than any words. John, the black man, was instantly enraged. He cursed, "Fuck," and raised his fist, ready to fight. "Please prepare yourselves, both of you." The referee separated the two fighters, checked their gloves, and announced the rules of the match. The rules for amateur matches are more numerous than those for bar matches, but time was limited, so the referee only announced a few key rules. He asked both fighters if they understood English and if they had any hearing problems. They were told that they had to obey the referee's commands during the match. Boxing. The boxing referee cut his hand to signal the start of the match. Link raised his fists, began to leap, his eyes fixed on his opponent's shoulder, and took 2 steps forward, closing in on John the black man. John also kept his eyes on his position, maintaining a distance of 1 meter from him, and did not directly engage him in combat. Link guessed that his opponent had probably watched his matches and knew his playing style. He also noted that his opponent hadn't been provoked by the pre-match argument and was a relatively calm and experienced opponent. This is tricky. They're not easy to deal with. Link glanced at his opponent, then simply lowered his hands, letting his arms hang naturally at his sides, swinging them back and forth as he leaped forward to close in on his opponent. He lowered his arms, which meant he gave up his defense. To approach his opponent without any defense is a serious provocation and contempt in the boxing ring. Despite being instructed by his coach before the fight not to take risks and to focus on defense for the first 3 rounds, John was enraged by Link's actions. He took a step back and, as Link followed up, suddenly leaped forward and punched Link in the face. The headgear worn in amateur matches perfectly protects the area around the forehead and cheeks, but the central part of the face is unprotected, which is also a key area for boxers to attack. The two were close together, and John's punch was faster. As Link turned his head, John's fist swiftly slammed into Link's cheek brace, nearly hitting his face. At the same moment, John's back fist followed, fiercely striking the black man's forehead. The two were too close. John, the black man, noticed his move and wanted to use a strategic lean back, but Link's arm was 192 centimeters long. Bang! A vicious hook punch, like a chain hammer, slammed into the black man's face. John, the black man, was hit on the head and involuntarily fell to the side and backward, crashing to the ground with a thud. Wow! Awesome! Well done! The punch was both surprising and dangerous, fast and powerful, making it a spectacle that instantly ignited the passion of the entire audience, with more than 5,000 spectators shouting loudly. Link! Champion! The boxing fans in the audience cheered his name excitedly. The media and thousands of spectators present also focused their attention on the boxing ring. This boxer is interesting. In the audience, a refined-looking brown-haired man stroked his chin and nodded slightly. Franco, you've taken a liking to him? The woman next to him, holding a child, asked. The brown-haired man shook his head, took out his phone, and called his assistant, requesting an investigation into a boxer named Link Baker. Less than 2 minutes later, his assistant sent Link's information to his email. The brown-haired man glanced at it, a look of surprise on his face. He then called his assistant and asked, Simon, are you sure he knocked out all 7 of his opponents in his first 7 fights? These are amateur matches, with masks on, how could he still knock out his opponents? Yes, boss, all knockouts. In the Miami knockout stage, all 3 matches ended in 1 round. Yesterday, he averaged 4 knockdowns per match across the 3 matches. He's a heavy hitter, Assistant Simon commented. No, he's not just a heavy hitter. His speed, his technique, and his boxing awareness are all outstanding, in no way inferior to professional boxers. Interesting, very interesting. The brown-haired man put down his phone, his eyes shining as he looked at Link, a handsome, strong, and skilled boxer with fair skin. His commercial value was considerable. Franco, do you want to sign him? He looks very promising. That's what the woman in the skirt asked. The brown-haired man stared at Link, and seeing him knock down the black boxer again, he couldn't help but clench his fist, tap his knee, and said, wait a little longer, and see how he performs next. I hope he can bring me more surprises. Bang! In the boxing ring, during the second round, the two exchanged more than 30 punches, with each side winning and losing. With only 5 seconds left in the second round, Link found an opening in his opponent's defense, quickly closed in, and used a combination of punches to break through his opponent's defense, knocking down John the Black Man at the corner. Second KO. Hey! Good morning, Mr. Cohen, I'm Carl. In the audience, a middle-aged man with black hair carrying a camera saw Link knock down the black boxer again and couldn't help but take out his phone to call Greg Cohen, a promoter from a top promotion company, and solemnly recommend Link Baker, a boxer from Miami. Carl. Where are you? Orlando. What boxer? 8 fights, 8 knockouts. Say it again. Upon hearing Cohen's reply, the middle-aged man with dark hair smiled slightly. He knew that his words had piqued Greg Cohen's interest, so he recounted in detail Link's participation in the Golden Gloves amateur competition. Sounds good, Carl. Keep an eye on this boxer named Link. If he makes it to the Golden Gloves national finals, I'll go meet him in person. Understood, Mr. Cohen. I will continue to follow his matches. The dark-haired man smiled and hung up the phone. He was a talent scout, specializing in finding young, outstanding boxers or athletes with commercial value for boxing promotion companies. I heard on the news today that there was a boxing match at the Amway Arena, so I came to check it out and see if there were any talented boxers. The boxers in the first few matches performed poorly, with no noteworthy targets. But when Link entered the ring, he first abandoned defense to lure his opponent, then easily dodged his opponent's punches, and at the same time used a hook punch to counterattack and kill his opponent. This punch was quite bizarre, quite amazing, and quite shocking. Carl was taken aback. This fighting style has only appeared in professional boxing matches. A rookie boxer dared to do this, and did it very well. This made Carl extremely curious about the boxer named Link. He called a friend to inquire about Link's information. After obtaining information about Link's previous fights, he became even more certain that this boxer named Link was a worthwhile investment, so he called a promoter from a top promotion company. If a top-tier promotional company is willing to sign Link, he can earn a substantial commission in the future. Link Baker, keep winning, the whole American boxing world will be in an uproar. Carl, with an e-cigarette between his fingers, smiled as he watched Link knock down his opponent once again. Bang! In the boxing ring, Link once again broke through John's defense with a heavy punch, landing a straight punch to his face, knocking John down for the 3rd time. He was unable to get up for more than 10 seconds. Boom! The audience cheered loudly, shouting Link's name and calling him the boxing champion. I hereby declare the winner of this match to be Mr. Link Baker. As the referee raised his arm to announce his victory, cameras and video cameras in the audience all pointed at him. Several people in the audience who are involved in sports picked up their phones after the final and called promoters from several major American boxing promotion companies, including Top Rank, Matchroom Boxing, Queensberry, Golden Boy, and Premier Boxing Champions. On this same day, many promoters in American marketing companies learned the name of a newcomer, Link Baker. End of this chapter. Chapter 17. Emma Watson. Hey Robert, Daniel, I'm talking to you, what are you looking at? In downtown Orlando, at the Euro Greek barbecue restaurant, 18-year-old Emma Watson waved to her 2 friends across the table with a cool expression. Emma, what did you say? Daniel Radcliffe looked away, adjusted his round-framed glasses, and asked, while Robert Grint, the blond man beside him, remained focused on the television on the counter behind him, completely ignoring Emma Watson. Emma Watson glared at the two men. They had been filming Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince at Universal Studios Orlando recently, and the filming hadn't gone smoothly for the past few days. She had wanted to talk to them about tomorrow's scenes, but the two men only listened for a few minutes before ignoring her presence and staring straight at the television behind them. Are beauty pageants really that good? Emma Watson pursed her lips and looked at the two men with disdain. The filthy man only liked looking at bikinis. It's not a beauty pageant, it's a boxing match. The U.S. Golden Gloves Championships are being held in Orlando, and this is the final, Daniel Radcliffe said, pointing to the television. Emma Watson glanced back and saw a handsome boxer with short black hair and blue eyes, swinging his red fist and knocking his opponent to the ground. His opponent lay on the ground for 10 seconds, unable to get up. Wow! That's amazing! That boxer named Link is incredible. Robert Grint raised his fist and shouted excitedly. He's really amazing. His reaction speed is incredibly fast. He can just stand there and let his opponents hit him, and they still can't hit him. Daniel Radcliffe nodded. Emma frowned, then curled her lip dismissively. The best boxers are all in England now. If you want to watch, you can go back to London. What's the point of an amateur boxer's match? Daniel Radcliffe smiled shyly and did not refute her words. Robert Grint, the blonde-haired boxer, said, America also has great boxers, like Holyfield, Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., and this boxer named Link is also very strong. Orlando Sports just broadcast clips of his matches. He knocks out his opponents in every fight. These are amateur matches, and his opponents are wearing protective gear, yet he still manages to keep them down for 10 seconds. He's incredibly powerful. Even Lewis might not be able to do that. I bet he'll become a champion someday. So what? Boxers are all violent, flaunting their wealth, fighting, sexually assaulting, and promoting violence and inciting teenagers to fight. I think this sport should be banned worldwide. Emma Watson said, her little face tense and her pink lips smacking. Robert Grint and Daniel Radcliffe exchanged a glance and shook their heads. Women can be terrifying when they get angry, one wrong word and they could cancel the boxing match. Link. Tell me quickly, how do I practice that move? I'll pay for it today. As the three were chatting, three boys entered through the door. The one in the lead was a handsome, tall, and strong boy, followed by a tall, thin blonde boy, and the last one was a fierce-looking, fat man. All three were dressed in sportswear, their arm muscles bulging, and they walked very fast, like a gust of wind blowing past. Hey, he looks a lot like that boxer named Link on TV. Robert glanced back at the TV, then at the boy in the lead. It was indeed the same person. I'm going to get his autograph. Robert, are you out of your mind? We're the stars, okay? Emma tugged at his clothes and said. Can't celebrities be fans? Oh no, I forgot my pen. Oh dear, can I borrow yours? Robert looked at the script Emma had placed on the table and asked. No. Emma Watson coldly refused. Robert rolled his eyes, got up and went to the counter to find paper and a pen. Don't ask any more, you won't be able to learn it. At the table, Link finished ordering and handed the menu to the waiter. How do you know we can't learn it if you haven't said anything? Hurry up and tell us. Mario slammed his hand on the table, urging them on. Reggie nodded expectantly. Link took a sip of red tea and laughed, to learn my trick, you need to have a quick reaction time. Have you ever teased a cat? You put your face close to the cat, stare into its eyes, and flick its forehead with your finger. You'll find that when you flick it, its paw is already on your face. That simple? Mario scratched his face and asked. Simple. Link glanced at him. You think it's easy to have the reaction speed of a cat? Considering his simple mind and straightforward thinking, Link didn't bother to scold him for his bluntness. Hi, are you Mr. Link Baker? A voice with a London accent came from the side. Before Link could turn around, he saw Mario suddenly stand up, his large belly almost knocking over the table. Mario stretched out his hands from the table and exclaimed in surprise, You're Ron the Golden Retriever. You really are Ron the Golden Retriever? I grew up watching your movies, can I get your autograph? Link turned around and saw Ron Weasley, one of the trio from the Harry Potter film series, whose real name is Robert Grint, being grabbed by the hand and shaken violently by Mario. Mario's strength was so great that Robert's mouth twitched. Link slapped Mario's hand away and invited Robert Grint to sit down and chat. He had seen the first 3 Harry Potter films and was fairly familiar with the actor. Robert Grint told him that they were filming Harry Potter at Universal Studios Orlando, and that they had seen his boxing match on TV that day, thought he was amazing, and wanted to get his autograph. Link, of course, wouldn't refuse to sign an autograph for the big star and even politely exchanged phone numbers with him. Wow, that's Hermione. I love Hermione the most, I want to get her autograph. Mario took the autograph book to Emma Watson for her autograph. Link saw Emma Watson and Mr. Harry Potter there and went over to say hello. As he was about to take his leave, Emma Watson called out in a cheerful voice, "Hey, Mr. Link Baker, I'd like to ask you, as a boxer, what do you think is the point of boxing besides promoting violence? I mean the positive one." Emma Watson wore a Chanel floral print mauve dress, her golden curls flowing freely. A delicate platinum necklace adorned her exquisite collarbone, and her small, pretty face exuded the elegance and sophistication of a British woman. With her good looks and demeanor, she resembled a young lady. But the words that came from her pink lips were like knives, making one want to cover her mouth and stop her from saying anything inappropriate. "Emma, you're being very rude," Robert Gretel cautioned. Daniel Radcliffe smiled shyly at Link and said, "Mr. Baker, Emma is in a bad mood today. It's not directed at you, so please don't blame her for being rude." Emma Watson frowned slightly and asked with a half-smile, "So, Mr. Baker, you don't know what the positive aspects of boxing are?" Link chuckled softly, finding the young girl quite amusing. He sat down opposite Emma, staring into her eyes, and said, "Miss Watson, it's not that I can't answer this question, it's just that I find it too naive, and it's hard to believe that you would ask it." "What? You dare call me childish?" Emma Watson clenched her small fists, glaring at him angrily, as if she wanted to fight him. She snorted, "Okay, then tell me, where is my question childish?" Link held up one finger and said, "I think boxing should be the greatest sport in the world, bar none." "Humph." Emma Watson wrinkled her delicate nose in disdain. Link didn't take it seriously. "First of all, it represents a spirit. If you understand boxing, you should know that there is a competition called the World Champion Challenge. An ordinary boxer can challenge the world champion. He knows that the world champion is very strong, but he still dares to challenge him. Even if he is beaten to death or maimed, he will not back down. What kind of spirit is that?" "Brave," Daniel Radcliffe said. "Fearless," Robert exclaimed excitedly. "This is defiance, this is resistance against tyranny, this is the weak refusing to be enslaved, throwing a fearless iron fist at the strong, this is the greatest spirit of mankind." Mario roared, head held high and fists clenched. Emma Watson blinked and snorted, "Billiards, tennis, golf, you can challenge for the championship in those too. Can you compare them? A group of people bullying a ball. Can that be compared to a punch landing on the flesh?" Mario retorted, sticking out his big nose. Link waved his hand and smiled, "Boxing is also a form of civilization. Since the 19th century, white supremacist culture has been prevalent worldwide. Black people, Asians, and Mexicans in America have faced discrimination. Boxing champions like Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, and Bruce Lee defeated white champions in the ring, breaking down racial discrimination and becoming heroes in the eyes of people of color. Boxing is also a sport that promotes racial equality, embodies social fairness and justice, and reflects modern civilization. What positive significance do you think it has?" Emma Watson blinked, feeling like she might have said something wrong. Link raised another finger and laughed, "Third, boxing is also a culture." "Enough." Emma Watson grasped his hand, blinked her eyelashes, and said weakly, "Dear Mr. Link Baker, I was wrong, I was really wrong. Boxing is very meaningful, and my thinking was too naive. I apologize to you." "Okay." Link chuckled softly, "It's good that you know you were wrong. You're still young and a little magician, so I won't hold it against you." "Ha ha ha." Several men at the table burst into laughter. Snort. Emma Watson glared at him, her blue-green eyes darting around, and she smacked her lips as she said, Link, Muhammad Ali fought for fairness and equality, what do you fight for? Make money. Make money. The group looked at him in surprise. Just moments ago, he was all talk and no action, but now he was saying he was boxing to make money. The contrast was too great. Emma Watson opened her mouth slightly. She had originally intended to set a trap for Link, and no matter what he said, she would accuse him of being a hypocrite. But Link's words were always the truth, leaving her with nowhere to trap him. This bastard reacted quickly too. Is the goal of making money vulgar? Link smiled and looked at the group. No, no, no. Of course not. Mario, Robert, Daniel, and Reggie all shook their heads, they were doing their jobs to earn money. Link looked at the beautiful Emma Watson and smiled, Miss Emma, are there any other questions? Emma Watson rolled her eyes. No, I hope you become a billionaire soon. Thank you. Ms. Emma, I'm a fan of yours, could you please sign my autograph? Link smiled and pushed the pen and notebook in front of her. You're my fan. Are you sure? Emma Watson didn't believe it. This guy talked back to his idol the moment they met, embarrassing her. Is this how a fan should behave? Real. Link laughed. Emma Watson glanced at him, happily signed the notebook, and left a phone number. End of this chapter. Chapter 18 Southeast Region Finals. After the Orlando competition, Link won the gold medal at the Florida division of the Golden Gloves Championship, 5 sets of sportswear sponsored by the Amateur Boxing Association, and a cash prize of $5,000. Just one day later, he and West took the Silver Star train to Charleston, South Carolina, in the north to participate in the Southeast Division competition. The Southeast Division includes 14 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. The top 3 finishers in each weight class from each state qualify for the competition, with a total of 42 boxers participating in the super middleweight bout. After 4 rounds of competition, Link once again advanced to the finals, and entered the finals with a complete knockout of his opponents, causing a huge sensation in the arena and in the amateur boxing community. Almost every amateur boxer knows that there is a boxer from Miami who is good at knocking out his opponents. He knocks his opponent unconscious in every match and will not stop until he knocks them out. He has earned a second title for this, physical anesthetist. His first title was given to him by boxing fans as the Prince of Miami Boxing. Because of his high-profile performance, his killer moves and tactics were studied by his opponents, who stayed up all night before the match to figure out how to counter them. This also made his subsequent matches extremely difficult. In the semi-finals, his opponent was an extremely skilled Italian boxer. He was technically proficient and fast, and dodged Link's backflip punch right from the start, which caused a stir in the audience. Everyone knew that Link's backflip punch was very powerful. Since the start of the competition, no one has ever avoided it, but this time the opponent has avoided it. Everyone feels that Link may experience his first defeat since his debut here. Unfortunately, they were disappointed. Despite having his killer move dodged, Link was not discouraged. He still had his heavy punches. In the following 6 rounds, he threw a total of 286 punches, more than 40 punches per round, which was the most punches he had ever thrown and the highest frequency in all his previous fights. He landed 286 punches, hitting his opponent's head 48 times and knocking him down 7 times. In the final punch, he used a swift straight punch to completely knock his opponent to the ground, unable to get up for 10 seconds. He won the game with great difficulty. Link, how are you? West saw that he was covered in sweat and his arm and leg muscles were trembling. He knew that this was a symptom of overexertion. He quickly asked Reggie and Mario to help him lie down and rest, and then asked the accompanying masseur to massage his muscles. I'm fine, I just felt a bit drained. Link took a sip of water and wrapped his whole body in a towel to prevent dehydration. West frowned at him and sighed, Link, if we don't change the plan, the goal of winning by knocking out all opponents is too unrealistic. That's right, Link. There are a lot of promoters from various companies here today. They're scouting for talent. I think winning the game is the most important thing. Reggie fanned him with a towel. Link waved his hand and laughed, no need to persuade me. This is a goal I set for myself. Since the goal has been set, it cannot be easily changed before failure. Your next opponent is very strong. How are you going to knock him out like this? Mario said with a sneer. Fight with all your might. Link clenched his fist, his gaze resolute, his sharply defined eyebrows as piercing as his fist. The Southeast Division Finals were held at 4 p.m. at North Charleston Gardens, attracting 12,000 spectators. Media outlets from the Southeast states, Fox News, HBO Sports, and other media outlets sent reporters to cover the event. Link, your next opponent is Jones Furls, the runner-up of last year's U.S. Amateur Championship. He is very strong. Will you still insist on ending the match by knockout? A reporter from the Miami Herald asked. Yes, this is my goal. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how strong the opponent is, I will strive to achieve it. Link responded in a gentle yet firm voice. Link, what if you lose? Will you give up the match? A reporter from the Tennessee News asked. Failure? Sorry, I've never thought I would fail, not here, not in Miami, so please don't mention the word failure when you interview me. Link clenched his fist and laughed. Link, congratulations on successfully advancing to the Southeast Regional Finals and qualifying for the National Championship. What are your next goals? An HBO Sports reporter handed over the microphone and asked a question. Champion, of course, the champion. I have no choice but to win the championship. Link raised his fist and said. The interview is over. The reporters left, leaving only two SpongeBob SquarePants in the ring, Link in his red SpongeBob suit and Jones Furls in his blue SpongeBob suit. Jones Fowles, an African-American, 22 years old, from Tennessee, is 192 centimeters tall, has a 195 centimeters reach, and weighs 78.2 kilograms. He was the runner-up in the light heavyweight division of last year's U.S. National Amateur Championships. In order to win the championship, Jones Fowler lost 2 kilograms before the fight and registered for the super middleweight competition. His characteristics include a small head, a strong and muscular body, high speed, a knack for fast attacks, and excellent defense. He is a well-rounded boxer with strong offensive and defensive skills. He once injured the noses of 3 opponents in a light heavyweight amateur match. Currently, the team has a record of 28 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw in 32 amateur matches, demonstrating extensive experience. After the match started, Jones Fowles adopted a conservative playing style, did not take the initiative to attack, and kept a distance of more than a meter from him. Link tried to chase Jones, but Jones swiftly evaded him with incredible speed. After some thought, Link decided to change tactics, abandoning the plan for aggressive attacks and conserving his energy first. In the first and second rounds, the two fighters only threw a total of 12 punches, and they only touched fists perfunctorily under the referee's urging. What are they doing? Why aren't they fighting? Mario asked, puzzled. The audience was also puzzled. Before coming to watch the match, the news reported that there was an amateur boxer from Miami who was extremely fierce and went berserk in the ring, knocking out everyone he encountered and getting them all out of the ring. He was known as the anesthetist. Now that it's the final round, why isn't the anesthesiologist anesthetizing anymore? Link, what are your plans? During the break between rounds, West asked Link this question. Link shook his head, looked at his opponent who was also resting, and said, no need to rush, let's wait a little longer. Wait? Wait for what? Mario glanced at Jones across from him and asked in a low voice, did you put an anesthetic in his water? Link was stunned for a moment. Could it really be done like this? After he went on stage, he was covered in sweat, panting heavily, and his steps were a little unsteady. Was Link too exhausted in the last match? Is he out of energy? Reggie asked. He gets tired too. Mario shook his nose, expressing his skepticism. He's been competing every day lately, but whenever he has time, Link goes for a run outside or works out in the hotel gym. He has more stamina than the cattle on his ranch. Mario doesn't believe Link would be so tired that he's unsteady on his feet, unless he had 3 women in his bed last night. Hey, hurry up and hit it. Stop wasting any more time. Refund. Refund. The audience shouted loudly to express their dissatisfaction with the game. The referee urged the two players to hurry up and finish the match, as point deductions would be made for passive play. Link ignored this, simply raising his fists and staring intently at his opponent, occasionally throwing a few perfunctory punches. While the audience's reaction is important, tactics should not be easily changed due to their emotions. His opponent, Jones Forlorn, remained relatively calm, frowning as he looked at Link with a puzzled expression. According to the coach's analysis, Link is an impatient boxer who likes to launch a fierce attack on his opponent in the first 3 rounds and often knocks out his opponent in the first 3 rounds to end the match. So before the match, his coach repeatedly told him to be on high alert and protect his head, and absolutely not give Link a chance to knock him out. Jones had watched Link's fight videos and remembered his powerful punches vividly, so he was prepared to deal with them. But since the start of the match, Link only probed briefly before giving up on attacking, playing very passively, as if he was deliberately delaying the match. Jones was puzzled. What was he trying to do? Suddenly, he noticed that Link was sweating profusely and his steps were unsteady. Was it because he had overexerted himself in the last match? Had his body not yet recovered? He decided to take the initiative and test Link's condition. The next chapter will be in 2 minutes. End of this chapter. Chapter 19 Southeast Region Champion. Bang! Jones leaped forward and threw a swift straight punch at Link's face. Link reacted even faster, dodging to the side while simultaneously throwing a back fist at Jones's head. Wow, that trick again. The anesthesiologist is finally online, God. Can he hit it? The audience gasped, because they had seen it many times and knew what Link's killer move was, a backflip punch that was thrown quickly from behind, often striking first and knocking out the opponent with one punch, which was extremely fierce. Jones knew Link's killer move, and before the match, he and his coaches practiced for 2 days to counter it, finally finding a way to break it. At the moment of throwing the punch, quickly tilt your head back or crouch down, focusing your attention on Link's backflip rather than trying to knock Link down with one punch and use this move to demoralize Link. Therefore, before Link's backflip came, Jones had already prepared to defend, leaning back tactically. Link threw a back fist that swept across Jones's chin. Whoa! The audience gasped in disappointment. Link was not disappointed when his killing move was dodged, and continued to maintain a defensive stance. Jones could tell that Link's strength and speed had decreased compared to the previous match. He guessed that Link had expended a lot of energy in the previous game and wanted to use this method to get some rest. Jones, however, did not want him to succeed. He then threw a second punch at Link's crossed arms, trying to break through Link's defense. But Link's technique was superb, and it was extremely difficult to break through. Jones could only continue to attack with punches. Faced with Jones's aggressive attacks, Link continued to adopt a defensive strategy. In this round, Jones threw a total of 65 punches, with 8 of them hitting Link's target areas. The judges gave Jones a score of 10 and Link only 8. In the 4th round, Jones continued his attack, throwing a total of 72 punches, 9 of which hit Link's target areas, and Jones won another round. During the halftime break in the 4th round, his coach advised him to slow down the pace of the attack, conserve his energy, and prepare for potential countermeasures from Link. Jones disagreed. With the fight going into the 4th round, the score was 10-10 after the first 2 rounds, and he was clearly in the lead in the 3rd and 4th rounds. He only needed to win the next 2 rounds to win the fight, so why give up his current advantage? Furthermore, during his fight with Link, he could tell that Link was greatly exhausted, with his strength and speed both declining, and he was extremely confident in defeating Link. Seeing Link sweating profusely and hydrating on the sidelines, his coach agreed with Jones's suggestion to keep scoring and secure the victory as soon as possible. Link, aren't you going to make a move? If you don't, you won't be able to win by points. Mario said while fanning him. Wait a little longer. I'll rest for one more game. Link spat out the water in his mouth and staggered to the center of the boxing ring. Bang! The match continued, and Jones took 84 shots in this round, hitting Link's target area 10 times, winning another round. In the 6th game, only 4 rounds remained until the end of the match. Isn't Link going to make a move? The audience and the promotion company staff looked at Link in the ring with confusion, wondering why he had suddenly become so negative. Had his girlfriend broken up with him before the fight? In the 6th round, Jones threw 88 punches, hitting Link's target areas 12 times, and Jones won another round. Link is going to lose. The promotion company staff sighed with some disappointment, saying that Link had fought terribly in this match. Although they didn't know what had happened to him, the fact that a boxer could lose a match due to external factors showed that his mental fortitude was somewhat lacking. The marketing company staff were somewhat disappointed. Link, did you bet a lot of money on yourself, betting that you would lose, so you want to deliberately lose the match? Mario turned his big head, which was full of scrap, and asked. Link glanced at him and spat the water on the ground. Watch out, I'm about to unleash my fury. Bullshit, you can't even get into bed like that, what else can you do? Mario said with a smirk. Bang! At 24 seconds into the 7th round, Jones threw a straight punch at Link's face, which Link quickly dodged by turning his head. Jones! Just then, Jones' coach yelled. Jones had no idea what was happening until Link threw a backflip punch that suddenly slammed into his head, causing him to fall uncontrollably to the right. As he fell, he remembered Link's backflip punch. Having just won a few rounds and scored many points against Link, he had completely forgotten about Link's killer moves because his attacks were going so well. He didn't even think about dodging when he threw a punch. He hadn't expected that Link, with his stamina, could still deliver such a ferocious punch at this point. Miscalculation. Bang! Jones, his face contorted with resentment, slammed heavily to the ground. Wow, backflip punch, Link's backflip punch again. Is the anesthesiologist finally here? God, I'm in so much pain. Link, go for it, take him down. Goodbye KO. The audience immediately perked up. Jones had been attacking and Link had been defending well. But everyone bought tickets to come here to see Link knock out his opponent, not to see his opponent dominate Link, so they waited patiently and finally got to see a knockout. Link didn't disappoint the audience either. After Jones got up, he took advantage of Jones's lack of health and used a series of heavy punches to break through Jones's defense. A swift jab followed by a left hook slammed into Jones's face. Jones was knocked out for the second time and fell to the ground. Link, you can do it. Link, I want to sleep with you. Link, bring your punches down harder. Seeing Link unleash his power, the audience cheered excitedly. After Jones got up, Link continued his offensive, unleashing a series of punches. Hold him. Hold him. Jones' coach shouted from below the stage. Jones immediately grabbed Link to stop him from continuing his rampage. Link then punched Jones repeatedly in the ribs until the referee separated the two. At the start of the 8th inning, Jones raised his fists high, crossed them to protect his head, and adopted a defensive strategy. In the first 3 rounds, Jones possesses a light heavyweight physique and extremely high resistance to blows. Link might not be able to break through his defense, and even if he did, it would take a lot of effort, and he doesn't have that much stamina to waste. However, in the 8th round, after Jones launched 4 consecutive attacks, his stamina was greatly depleted, and he was knocked out twice by Link. When he raised his arm to defend, it would be a great burden. This was when his defense was at its weakest, and Link did not hesitate. He stepped forward and used a heavy punch to break through Jones's hands, and once again hit him in the face with a straight punch. Bang! Jones was knocked out for the 3rd time and fell to the ground. Well played. Keep it up. From the stands, Franco Duval pumped his fist and shouted excitedly. Boss, should we sign him? Assistant Simon asked. Franco Duva frowned, looking at several figures not far away. There were promoters there, Greg Cohen from Top Promotions, Dimitri Salita from Arena Promotions, Frank Warren from Queensbury Boxing Promotions, Al Heyman, Vice President of Top Champions Boxing Promotions, and even representatives from the newly established Golden Boy Promotions. Several major boxing promotion companies across the United States are interested in signing Link Baker, and it will be quite difficult for his Hall of Fame promotion company to sign him. Additionally, after the Florida tournament, he contacted Link in Orlando, offering him a lucrative contract, but Link refused, stating that he would consider signing him after the Golden Gloves Championship. Link is very capable and there's no rush to sign him. His peers are also keeping a close eye on Link, this newcomer with huge commercial value. To sign him, they need to be patient enough and offer him a deal that is compelling enough. Bang! In the boxing ring, Link landed another hook to Jones's head, knocking him to the ground. Jones remained crouched for 4 seconds before getting up, marking his 8th time being knocked down. This Jones is not bad either. Comprehensive technology. Extremely resistant to impact. Several promoters nodded in approval as they saw Jones get up again after being knocked down 8 times. Link is a heavy hitter. His opponents in the past could only be knocked down 7 times before they couldn't get up. Jones can get up after being knocked down 8 times, which shows that he has great potential. With only 1 round left in the fight, can Link secure a knockout? Everyone watched Link's performance with anticipation. In the boxing ring, after 9 rounds, Link was drenched in sweat and kept taking deep breaths. This wasn't a feigned attempt to lure his opponent, he was genuinely exhausted. He had only rested for less than 3 hours after his last match before starting another one. Mario's opponent in this match, Jones Floss, is very strong and resilient, at least twice as resilient as Mario. His defense is also very good, and it takes a lot of effort to break through his defense each time. After 3 rounds of continuous attacks, Link's stamina was also at a critical point. However, after Jones was knocked down 8 times, his physical and mental state was also extremely poor. Now they have to compete in endurance and willpower. Link is not lacking in endurance or willpower. When pushing the cart in the mine, or when spitting out blood clots at the last moment of the battle in the iron cage, he can still unleash tremendous power. Moreover, he is now in a completely advantageous position. How could anyone possibly lose a match like this? Roar! Link went berserk, repeatedly pounding Jones with both fists. Bang bang bang! Link cornered Jones against the corner post, unleashing a barrage of punches. 1, 2, 3 punches broke through Jones's arm defenses, and the 4th punch pierced through the defenses, striking Jones heavily on the forehead and rendering him unable to react. Break! The referee came over and grabbed Link. Link stepped back, gentlemanly retracting his fists. Jones, with his arms hanging from the ropes, lunged forward and fell to the ground. The referee counts. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Link raised his hands high. Boom! The atmosphere reached a climax, and the audience cheered loudly, shouting Link's name. Yes! Link won. Mario and Reggie jumped up and shouted. Link! The champion! Link, the champion! What a fantastic match! Link Baker will definitely become a boxing champion in the future. From regional competitions to divisional matches, Link stormed into the Golden Gloves Championship finals with a perfect KO record. No one can match his performance. 14 amateur matches, 14 knockout victories. This record has never been seen in any amateur competition before. Link has set a new historical record. The audience stood up and applauded Link, while the people from the promotion company looked at Link with burning eyes, as if he were a walking money printing machine. The media present also focused their cameras on Link in the boxing ring, eager to witness the birth of a new sports star. I hereby announce that the winner of the Southeast Division gold medal at this year's Golden Gloves Championship is Link Baker from Florida. Yunus Musa, Vice President of the American Amateur Boxing Association and head of the Southeast Division, raised Link's arm high in the boxing ring. Link! Champion! The audience applauded and cheered. In the stands, hundreds of boxing fans holding up Link posters jumped and shouted excitedly, calling him Link, the Prince of Boxing, and some even calling him Mr. Anesthesiologist. Link smiled broadly and waved his fist at the boxing fans. See you in Miami, family. Both chapters are being released together, please read on. End of this chapter. Chapter 20 Negotiation of $100 million. A fantastic match. The anesthetic Link Baker once again finished the fight with a KO, improving his amateur record to 14 wins and 14 KOs. This is an amazing record, a record-breaking record. Tyson didn't achieve this, Holyfield didn't achieve this, and Mayweather didn't achieve this. On June 13th, please turn your attention to the boxing ring in Miami. A new boxing star is rising in the southeast of America. His name is Link Baker. Reported by The Ring magazine. It is understood that the Southeast Division of the 2008 Golden Gloves Championship concluded yesterday. Link Baker, the super middleweight boxer representing Florida, performed exceptionally well in the final, successfully knocking out his opponent, former amateur championship runner-up Jones Furls, in the 9th round, and winning the Southeast Division super middleweight gold medal for Florida. He will continue to represent Florida in the National Golden Gloves Championship. Reported by the Florida New Herald. Yesterday I visited Roy Jones Jr. in West Palm Beach and asked him if he was following the Gold Glove Amateur Championship. Roy Jones Jr. was smoking marijuana with 2 bikini-clad girls lying next to him, and he told me no. I said, "Go check him out, buddy. There's a young man named Link Baker. He's a really, really great Miami guy. He won the state championship in Orlando for Miami, and then he won the Southeast Division Championship in South Carolina for Miami. No, he won the championship. He won the match by knocking out his opponents 14 times in 14 fights, which is dozens or hundreds of times more valuable than a divisional championship." Huh, you won by knocking out all your opponents in an amateur match? I understand what he means, I understand perfectly. He wants to tell us all, this kind of competition is too easy. I'll show you a high difficulty move, I'm going to knock out my opponent and make it to the tournament finals. If I had met him before the match, I would have rolled my eyes at him. Young man, don't be so arrogant. It's useless. There are too many masters in the boxing world. Be careful someone breaks your handsome nose with their fist. Fortunately, I didn't know him before the competition, nor did I give him the cold shoulder, because he really did it. He accomplished an almost impossible challenge, God, knocking out those guys wearing high elasticity foam 14 times. Does Link have a dragon living inside him? I asked Roy Jones, who was smoking marijuana, can you? Roy Jones Jr. looked somewhat lost, as if recalling his unpleasant past. Clearly, his poor amateur tournament results were no match for Link's. My interview wasn't over yet when Roy Jones Jr. yawned, and his assistant told me that Mr. Roy Jones Jr. was getting ready to rest. As I watched Roy Jones Jr.'s retreating figure, I saw a boxing champion growing old, a sign that the Miami boxing ring was about to fall into disrepair. I feel a little down. Etc. Dust has settled in the boxing ring? No. We still have Link Baker, a brand new champion. How could the Miami boxing ring be lonely? Let's cheer for Miami's future champion, Link Baker. Comment by Rafael Varani, sports editor of the Miami Herald. On the moving Silver Star train, Link put down the newspapers he was holding, touched his head, and found that his forehead was covered in sweat. The air conditioning in the carriage was working properly, and the air was quite cool, but he was sweating on his forehead. It wasn't because the weather was too hot, but because the news in the newspaper was so embarrassing that he was digging his toes out of his mouth. He is currently only the #1 super middleweight in the Southeast region, not the overall champion of the Golden Gloves Championship. But the media in Florida and Miami treated him like a champion, as if he had just taken a trip to the moon on the Apollo spacecraft at the U.S. Space Center, praising him to the skies. This must have embarrassed him. But after the awkwardness came a secret satisfaction. Yes, it felt great, it was the ease and joy of achieving a goal. If he simply won the fight and took the Southeast Division title, would the Florida and Miami media be so enthusiastic about praising an amateur boxer like him? Link thought it was impossible. Simple achievements cannot withstand excessive praise, the media will hesitate to lavish praise for fear of his defeat in the next match. But for a boxer who can knock out his opponent in every match, his strength is undeniable and deserves praise. Therefore, Link set himself an extremely high goal, which not only won him honor but also created a newsworthy topic for the local media. He gained significant fame through the media, and the media, in turn, sold newspapers and magazines by promoting him, a win-win situation. This also shows that his previous goal of deliberately pursuing a complete knockout victory was meaningful and not a waste of effort. Link also understood West's earlier advice. When he first joined the gym, he told West that he would only fight in amateur matches for 6 months before turning professional. West disagreed at the time and advised him to fight for longer periods, but he felt it was unnecessary, believing that his skills were already mature and he did not need to hone them through amateur boxing matches. After seeing these news reports, he suddenly understood what West meant. Playing in amateur competitions not only hones your skills but also helps you gain experience. More importantly, it can bring fame and honor to the boxer, as well as to the people around him, the region, and even the country. This is a stage of building popularity and reputation. When he competes representing a region or country, the local and American media will promote him for free, giving him high public recognition. After gaining high recognition in the region, if a boxing match is held in Miami, Florida in the future, will the people of Miami not come to support it? After gaining high popularity in the United States, boxing matches will be held in New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas and other places, and the American people will buy tickets or pay to support him because he is a celebrity. This is also why audiences don't really support foreign boxing champions when they come to America to fight. Even if they are very strong and have several gold belts, who cares if they are not one of their own? Because of his imprisonment in his previous life, Link never enjoyed this kind of treatment during his amateur competitions, and therefore did not understand the role of amateur competitions. Now that he has a bit of an epiphany, he plans to participate in more amateur competitions in the next 6 months or more to build up his popularity and reputation. After all, it's free media publicity, so why not take advantage of it? Once they turn professional, all that accumulated fame and prestige will be converted into money in each match, so playing amateur matches is not a waste of time. Link, have you finished reading? How about we talk about it? He was sitting by the window on the train, opposite a middle-aged man with brown hair. Wearing glasses, a neat brown striped shirt even in the sweltering summer, and a meticulously styled Clark Gable-esque parted hairstyle, he reveals clean, white teeth when he smiles, showcasing his good personal habits and affluent social class. He always smiles while speaking, looks at the other person, and exudes a gentle and refined air in his every gesture. This man is named Franco Duva. The surname Duva comes from Latin America and is not common in the United States, but few people in the boxing world should not be unfamiliar with Lou Duva. Lou Duva is one of the founders of the Boxing Hall of Fame, and has been the coach or agent of 19 world boxing champions, including Evander Holyfield and Vitak. He is also the founder of a major event promotion company. Old Duva is 86 years old this year and his health is failing. It is said that he has retired from major event companies and handed over his boxing career to his eldest son, Franco Duva. That is, the man in front of me. This wasn't the first time the two had met. In Orlando, shortly after Link left Euro Barbecue, and just after he added Emma Watson on MSN, Franco Duval followed West and knocked on his door, wanting to talk to him about signing a contract. When West heard that the other person was Lou Duva's eldest son and the president of the major event promotion company, he agreed without hesitation to bring him to meet Link. Upon meeting him, Franco immediately stated his purpose: he wanted to sign him for a $1 million contract. Link appreciated Franco's straightforward approach, but he wouldn't sell his contract for such a low price as $1 million, nor even $10 million. He declined Franco's offer, citing, not discussing a contract for the time being, just as he turned down offers from other promotional companies after the Southeast Division competition. After the train left South Carolina, Franco Duval caught up and sat opposite him. It turned out that the person sitting opposite him was Mario, a guy who really wanted to be signed by a promotion company, and how could he refuse to give up his seat to the president of a promotion company? After Franco Duval sat down, he kept trying to talk to him, seemingly trying to get closer to him and get him to agree to sign the contract. He was very sincere, but so what? When it comes to his own interests and future development, even if the three giants of the boxing world, Lou Duval, Bob Arum, and Don King, are sitting in front of him, he can choose not to pay them any attention if he doesn't want to. He didn't want to talk, so he chose to read the newspaper, and then he was so embarrassed by the news in the newspaper that he almost fell off a train. "What do you want to talk about, Mr. Duva?" Link took a South Carolina tangerine from the table, cut it open with a knife, peeled off a segment, and popped it into his mouth. "Link, congratulations on making it to the Golden Gloves Championship Finals. Even though there are many strong opponents in the finals, with your strength, it won't be difficult for you to get into the top 3. Link's lips twitched when he heard top 3. Winning the championship isn't difficult. Franco Duval quickly added, pulling out a tissue with the Chanel logo and handing it to him, continuing, "Link, if you win the championship and those promotional companies want to sign you, what terms will you offer? You can tell me, I'm not only here with sincerity, I've also brought my checkbook. Perhaps I can fulfill your request right now." "What kind of conditions?" Link squinted as he pondered. "Yes, we can agree on any conditions." Franco Duval smiled slightly, displaying an attitude of, "I'm willing to take the bid if you dare to make an offer," which was very magnanimous. $100 million US. Before Link popped the other half of the citrus into his mouth, he announced a very impressive number with his sexy lips. $100 million US. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. 2 chapters released in quick succession, please continue reading. End of this chapter.